repairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
This is Alexander Fern, the voice of the Lincoln Stars, telling you to join the Stars Saturday, January 24th at the Icebox for our annual Aubrey Brown Club night. The Stars are at home to take on the Omaha Lancers at 6 p.m. Proceeds from the night will go toward a great cause. The Aubrey Brown Club is a local foundation that helps parents through the tragedy of child loss. The Stars will be wearing special jerseys that will be auctioned off following the game. And don't miss a great night for a great cause at the Icebox, Saturday, January 24th. Tickets are available at lincolnstars.com. Proceeds from the night will be donated to the Aubrey Brown Club.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of January, because get an early start on it. Sit down, the snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. Let's put numbers together. Let's get a budget put together, and let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Husker Nation, the countdown is on for the biggest women's basketball event of the year, PAC PBA, coming up January 24th. This year, we're heating things up with the Big Red Beach Party. Watch your Huskers take on Big Ten opponent Illinois, decked out in your best tropical gear, with a specialty tropical drink in hand, all inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. PAC PBA is your tropical getaway right here in Lincoln. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/PACPBA.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped and picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Hour one of Old School is sponsored by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. A happy hump day to you and yours. Welcome in. It is Old School on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back in full effect, Austin Orman and Jay Foreman are with you for 3 hours. 402-464-5685 is the number to be a part of the show. Thanks to Sartor Heyman Jewelers for their sponsorship of our text line. Thanks to Graham Tire Company for sponsoring Old School. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. To that Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line we go. Jay, I'll read the second half of Eric's text. I'll leave the second half unstated. Yep. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm cold as a mug, though. I blew in here with that wind. What they call gale force winds?
Oh yeah.
You ever been in on a plane with gale force winds?
Oh, it's brutal.
Yo,
Brutal.
I was flying
Hate
into Vegas one time. And
Vegas is a little turbulent, a little rocky.
Yeah, and it was whatever the gale force winds, and this dude tried to land it 4 times and couldn't do it. And we went to, I think, Ontario, California, and waited for 2 hours. It was like mayhem. And the worst place.
Did you have to deplane and take another one to Vegas, or keep on the same plane, give it enough fuel?
We just flew to Ontario and then
waited out, flew the other way.
Yeah, and then came back, and it still was bumpy when he came back. But obviously we landed. I'm here.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, dude. But I was in towards the back of the plane, and this lady was like, and I'm not I don't like I fly, but. And she was going through it, and I literally, I was, at that point, then I get nervous or whatever. And what he was doing, he would try to land, and then when he couldn't, he would just gun it to get back in the, we're going we're going to outer space,
right?
Yeah, it was rough.
At least it wasn't like the flight from Bloomington, right? Were you worried about turbulence and suspicious characters?
Yeah, it was more suspicious characters, and with Nick Sainert is easily the worst traveling partner to be with. No, actually,
come on. I was gonna say,
yeah,
I've heard
Jake
on good authority.
Jake is easily the worst. Nick, just in that type of worldly knowledge, is second worst. But it's all good.
They're fighting for silver in that one.
Yeah, Nick's the silver medalist, but you don't even want to be close to gold. So,
closer not to gold, but closer to home as of about 9:30 this morning, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska's 2027 quarterback commit Trae Taylor announced that he'll be transferring in from Carmel Catholic High School in Illinois to go play for the Millard South Patriots up there about 45 minutes away from the campus of the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Jay, he tweeted last night, "Buckle up, Nebraska." Emoji with sunglasses on. Yeah. People are like, okay, what's that? Well, it comes out like 12 hours later. He's transferring in.
Yeah.
Your initial reaction when you heard Trae Taylor was coming in?
I was like, I'm not surprised. I guess I was. It's everything. Shocked, not surprised. Like, okay. Like, what's the point now? Do you want the truth, or do you want my honest opinion? Obviously, Nebraska's an NIL state to where when you're in high school, you can get paid.
Mm-hmm.
You coming to get paid.
He's not coming just for fun.
Because, and this is not to, look, it's a big step for him. I'm assuming he's leaving home.
Yeah.
I don't know if his parents are coming with him. That's his deal, or whatever. So it's a big step for him. But to be honest with you, you have a chance to get paid. It's a great opportunity. You'll be in close proximity of the stadium or the whatever, the football team that you're going to be in next year, probably about a year from now. And you're coming to a pretty good high school, or at least they were. I don't think their team will be nearly as good as it was this year.
Well, you lose a dozen D1 guys.
You lose like 25 guys to college. Hard to replace. So look, Dylan did it when he went down to Georgia. Obviously, and people have done it. They do it all the time in basketball.
That was going to be my next question for you. Is this a story because it's a story, or is this a story because this hasn't really happened to or happened for Nebraska football before?
I think that's the second part, and the way that he's been on social media. That's probably, with it. He's champion for, he's trying to recruit for the university or for the, obviously, for the university or the football team. And, considering that he decided to go to Millard South, considering the way that they put together their team last year, how that all came to, fruition. I kind of heard about this about a month and a half ago. And I was like, no way. Like, because only reason I say it is this. Now, I didn't think about it anymore just besides the football. I didn't look at it NIL wise versus Illinois and all that. I looked at it because I immediately called John Holisek, who's a former teammate of mine from the south side of Chicago, coaches in a higher league. And he was like, I'll just tell any kid just to go to, you go across the city and you would be playing against the best of the best, right? You see Nebraska just offered Matt Bowen, who I know through media, and obviously played with and against him, or played with him. He was a defensive player. He actually was from Iowa. Does some stuff for ESPN Chicago and stuff. They just offered his kid, so he plays in that league that John's talking about. And so that was my first initial thought. Then I was like, oh yeah, let me see really why you're doing it. And you know what? More power to him. You got an opportunity to do it. I can guarantee you, if I could have came down here my junior year and got paid, going into my senior year, you're under the tutelage. He's in town every weekend. I mean,
well, he's living in Lincoln and commuting to Millard.
Yeah, you probably talk too much. Less is more. That's actually probably a good. I don't know who runs the social media. I don't know if it's him or his dad or somebody like a third party. The best thing that he could do, and recruit all you want, and there's not saying you should, and it does happen. Doesn't happen as frequent as they're making it, because at the end of the day, everybody wants to know who the quarterback's going to be. But after that, guys are either coming for money or opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. And
when you have money and opportunity, you're all but a lock to get the guy.
Right. Yes. But everybody has money and opportunity. So then it's just going to come down to winning and the situation. So it's great. And everybody wants to know that. But I think the one thing that he could do is learn from the good, bad, or indifferent of Dylan Raiola being here for 2 years. And then copy the good, look at the indifferent, and stay away from the bad. And it's not saying that Dylan did anything bad, but what I'm saying is less is more, especially at that position.
Especially as going into your senior year
of high school.
You're not him yet, dude.
Right. And you haven't played. You haven't played here in Nebraska high school, let alone you haven't played at Nebraska.
Let alone haven't played at a high level at Nebraska.
Right. Yeah. You're still trying to level up, right? So less is more. And obviously, look, the spotlight's going to be on you because you're the quarterback. You're here every weekend. You're doing a good job. You're trying to be like out in front of the university, but you have to do a little bit more research and talk to people outside of the program or maybe that played here to kind of give you like the lay of the land so you can just make a smooth transition, hopefully, into being the player that you want to be. Nebraska needs you to be, and everybody expects you to be, because less distractions equals more production. And you could even take it outside of Nebraska, right? If you look at Mendoza, right? He said he didn't have a girlfriend because he wants to be hyper-focused on football. He's probably not going to have a girlfriend. Or he's going to have a girlfriend. He was in Miami. He looked like he met one. He probably met his wife in that club. And then you think like the resurgence of Carson Beck. A ton of distractions.
Who had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who followed her to Miami.
Yeah.
And then extracurriculars. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, and that was probably not the best choice for him, which is Jake Ferguson. Bro, they're twins. Did you not learn? Yeah. Did you?
Sorry.
And they're thinking on the same and I know the twins probably could think on the same path.
Same wavelength.
Yeah, you in trouble. Matter of fact, you got 2 for 1. And I don't know if it's a special.
Double trouble.
And I don't know if it's a special, right? So, but you got to think like with Carson Beck, he was able to go to Miami, less distractions in reality. His biggest distraction was somebody breaking into his house. He was able to overcome that, but he got into the program. You really didn't hear about, all you heard coming out of the facility was how much he's refocused, re-energized, found his love for the game, leadership skills,
took off.
His production and play took off. Obviously, the last play he probably liked to have back. Tip your hat to Indiana. Start kind of like trying to replicate what works. Not in
the Patrick Mahomes cosplay sort of way.
Correct. Because people will tell you, NFL people will tell you. I'll just tell you this, right? We haven't did our draft, and we'll dive it. We'll get really into the draft this year. I've been working on some stuff. People will tell you that Mendoza has, in some ways, done the cosplay of my man Kirk Cousins. And it's been pushed that way because what these kids are doing now, and they're very smart, right? They're not high school kids anymore.
No.
They're in between college and pros just because of the media attention. We're talking about a junior in high school moving here. So it's different, right? But where these kids are a little bit smart because they quote unquote have these agents, handlers, advisors. They got all these guys around them, right? They got this entourage, and the 1% of the 1% still make it. But go ahead. Is that they see things in guys and see, what works. The affinity for, in this case, Kirk Cousins, as he left Minnesota, they now miss him.
Mhm.
Now they do appreciate him more. They saw him, the inside glimpse of his personality, which then really took over the team. And remember, we were doing the chains. He kind of got out of his box, right?
Mhm.
And then he goes to Atlanta and is a great veteran. So when you have a guy that's a little quirky like Mendoza, he sees that. They start to cosplay that. Now, he isn't to the magnitude if you compare it to the Mahomes and all that. So for Trae Taylor, he's going into a competitive program.
Mhm.
I don't know if the football probably be a little bit harder to make you a little bit better, but
Maybe.
right. I mean, it's kind of
We'll talk about the high school aspect of it
Right.
next segment, because I think there's a lot to dig into there,
Yeah.
the prep ranks. From the Nebraska perspective, Jay, University of Nebraska-Lincoln football, Trae Taylor's tweet, it was this, kind of a redshirt year at a slower pace was a sentence that he wrote, or whoever wrote that. That's fascinating to me because I read that as maybe just a little young and mature, right? Calling this year redshirt year, like you're expecting to be the starter in 2027. And I said this with Bach. I've had a little more time to think on it. If that statement, kind of a slower redshirt year, number one, you're about to have your eyes open when you actually get to college, I'm sure.
everybody is.
So that's
Everybody
just
does.
natural.
Yeah.
If it's youthful exuberance and confidence that he feels confident he can win the starting job in 2027, so be it. Again, less is more. Wouldn't have said it myself, but talk your talk. If he's saying that from a place of, hey, I'm letting you know this is my redshirt year, and the coaching staff has told me, I have a really good chance to be the starter in 2027, which I don't think they've done, but wouldn't put anything past this program the way they handled the previous quarterback. If Nebraska has told Trae Taylor, use Millard South as your redshirt year, we want you to be our starter in 2027, I don't like that. If Trae Taylor's talking too much and being a little too confident and just misphrase something,
Yeah.
okay, so be it. But I kind of worried me a little bit when I read that.
Yeah, you just wonder who's is it him? Who's doing his talking? I mean, sometimes he's not doing it. Maybe it's his dad. Maybe it's his mom. Maybe it's a media person or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, you want them to come in. Look, at this point, you want everybody to come in and think that you can play and want to work and try to compete to play. A lot of these kids come out of high school.
Compete to play is different than be told you'll start in 2027.
Yeah, that's what I was
come
saying.
hell or high
So
water.
you don't know what and these kids are young. What they hear and what you actually say are two different things. And so I don't think they guaranteed them to start, but because the statement's even a little bit, it could be written. That's what you don't. What I just said, less is more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to leave things up to interpretation. Now you're talking about recruiting for 2027. Well, me as a program, I have to recruit for 2028 and 29, or more importantly, 2028. And I got to, re-recruit the guys in 2026 on the roster. Why it's important? Because everybody, you could have you could have the two quarterbacks, TJ Lateef and Daniel Kalen right now. So there's two quarterbacks. You can have potential another 27 quarterback, probably not, but 28 quarterback and a 29 quarterback. All read that and all have four different interpretations of what it meant, right? That's why less is more.
Yeah.
Because you're solidified in your spot. You're here. You're within, you'll be able to be, your phone call away from the coaches. You'll probably be, I don't know if you can come and train with them and all that stuff. I doubt you can, you can't go down and work out with them. I don't think you can't do that, right?
No, there's no way. And I mean, if you're a player on Nebraska's current team and you saw this kid coming in to work out with you, he's not enrolled. He's still going to high school.
Yeah.
What the heck are you doing
here? Yeah. I don't know if you can or not, but so I look at it like probably just youthful exuberance. He's young. He's, probably going to get paid a little bit of money. So, there's nothing wrong with that. And, if he's good enough to come in and start, then, he's the best guy. And I think, you kind of look and see, what things have been different. If Dylan redshirt, I don't necessarily know. I think he kind of fit the script of what they needed compared to the competition that was on the roster. Now, if you just took Trae Taylor against another year in the seasoning with TJ Lateef and just say another year Daniel Kalen, that's probably a little bit more competitive environment versus when Dylan was coming in. I think he's going against Heinrich Harburg and stuff like that, and Daniel Kalen as well. So, look, man, I mean, I think, now, it's free clicks for all the people that are going to glaze over him for the next year. So he just made some people some money. Nebraska fans are going to eat it up. Here's the one thing I will say, though. I was talking to a friend in North Carolina, former teammate. His son is a 2028 I think he said 4-star recruit, whatever. And he doesn't really even talk about his kid. I got pulled teeth. And he was like, man, he's like, my kid probably ended up going to Tennessee. Now he played it, my former team played at Tennessee. And he was like, he ain't ready. And he's like, he's a bad dude.
And he ain't ready.
He ain't ready. Jumpy Gathers, not a teammate of mine. I know him in Charlotte. And, he's a D. His son's kind of like a hybrid kind of kid. He's going to be a senior next year. Plays at Providence Day. They're state champ. I mean, they were nationally ranked. Yeah, nationally ranked. Talked with him and his son, and he was like, hey, look, man, he's 6'4", 210, 215. He's a really good athlete. He's like, Jay, he ain't ready. And it's not physically, but what he ready to, like, my mindset, his mindset, my other friends' mindset, and majority of people's mindset, ready to, like, make a huge impact in 12 games straight. Versus that's why they have the redshirt rule, 4 games and potentially 9 games, because it kind of gives you a little bit of a stair step. Like you could play every 3 games. Right. Hey, look, this is where you start, improve. Let's see what you do, improve. But for Trae Taylor, I think for Nebraska, I think it's good to have him here and have him close. They must have a lot of respect for. I mean, he wasn't going to be able to go to Westside, so there's only 2 schools that you can go to.
Yeah.
Because I think Central has a pretty good quarterback. He's more of an athlete. He's going to probably be making some noise. Braylon Warren is at Westside. Yeah. You ain't beating him out, and so Millard South just lost Tamala, so that's a great place to go, and they got some young guys coming in.
Let's jump off on that when we get back to break. That's what it meant for Nebraska football. What does it mean for the Nebraska prep ranks? What does this do to the state of Class A and the conversations that we started last season with the way things were trending with Millard South and all their talent? He's Jay Foreman. I'm Austin Norman. This is Old School Hour, one of which is brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. They're based out of Hallam, Nebraska. They offer a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty on everything while keeping their prices affordable. Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today for more info. You can do that at 402-430-3852 or by visiting them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. A window into the state of Class A football, what Trae Taylor's commitment to Millard South means after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment or sweat it out on your way home from work. With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320. MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Mo's Moving is now Mo's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get 1 half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, we're back. It is Old School 93.7 The Ticket. Austin Norman and Jay Foreman with you. This first hour, we're diving into the decision of Nebraska's 2027 quarterback commit Trae Taylor to transfer in to the state from Illinois. He'll be playing for Millard South come the 2026 NSAA football season. Jay, I think in some ways, this is a logical sort of conclusion or next step for where we're at in college sports, because they don't really have a true minor league, right? Nor does the NFL, really. So I think it only makes sense that having guys transfer into a school closer to you, you can better monitor their development. You can better be in control of their development. You can talk to them more. Just kind of seems like the next logical step. Basketball, for the most part, that's prep schools, right? Your Link Academies, your IMGs, whatever. So it's not like this is unprecedented. It's not like this has never happened before. It's just new for Nebraska. Mm-hmm. And of course, it would have to be Millard South. I mean, the preeminent power in Class A right now. If Trae Taylor was going to make this move, where else was he going to go but Millard South? Doesn't seem like anywhere else. Like 6 years ago, maybe it was Bell West. 4 years ago, maybe it was West Side. Now it had to be Millard South. You're not sending him to even like Gretna East or, Gretna, where St. Flores came from. You're not sending him to Waverly or Bennington or maybe Scott, right? The Catholic connection. I don't know if that's a big deal for him and his family or not. But there was only ever one place if he was coming to Nebraska he was going to go.
Yeah.
Millard South. Not a true, feeder program for Nebraska right now.
It's not at all.
But potentially the first step in that direction. Yeah. FCS programs are too proud. They want to compete for their own championships, don't want to be the little brother feeder program from an FBS school. I just don't think that's going to happen. You could take steps in this direction, especially with, you said, NIL being legal in Nebraska, to create a feeder high school where you install your own coaches, that you have oversight of, and said, hey, you're running our stuff, you're teaching our terminology. You are essentially our redshirt year for these guys that we think are going to be ready as freshmen.
Yeah, I mean, it could, but I don't know Like that's got to be reciprocated, from the program to the high school program. Yeah, I mean, I always thought like if I was Nebraska, um, what I would do, I would find either some former players that played at Nebraska that are interested to coach, or in you know what I mean, because you can't uproot some of your present staff, so you got to have somebody that that are actually coaches and know how to coach and and know how to teach the game. Don't worry about what the wins and losses, and plant them out of high school. And that way, number one, you get true intel on all the players, non-biased. Then number two, if you have a guy or a couple guys that you have there, they're getting on the job training. But yeah, when they come in to their official first year as a freshman in January, obviously they'll be 2 or 3, 4 steps ahead. And then as far as like Trae Taylor or any other kids coming, you got to really weigh, how much better, what are you really looking for tangibly that you can see development wise that you're going to do by being here versus where you're at. Like for me, like I'm coming from Minnesota, I never lifted weights. So if Nebraska just said, hey, I want you to come down here at the time, I think it's Southeast, and go to Southeast, I'm sure they had a weight program. I probably would have stepped on campus, more ready to compete, to actually play and be in a backup role. You kind of really want to probably make sure it's the guys that you have in your plans, immediately. And so, maybe he's that, and maybe that's what you could do on a regular with Millard South. But, it's for every decision, there's there's some risk, and it could be a lot of reward. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's a we'll see thing. I think he's got to get in here. You got to play the quarterback position. Millard South probably has, they're always going to have good players. They're well coached. And yeah, they did some stuff as far as recruiting and stuff like that. But the one thing that they didn't get enough credit for this year, as far as this team, when you take however they went about their business, is how well they were coaching, how hard they played. Yeah. So when you and I think, look, they had, Trae Taylor has a good coach in Chicago. And so, he's coming here to be closer to the program. I think he said he want to make sure that he doesn't miss any recruits, during, that guys that he could, that are, I'm assuming that high school coming in, during the season. To be honest with you, there's probably 1 or 2 games you get a lot of high school kids, because during the football season, because they're playing.
Right.
So
really, I don't even like that look. Like, I get that you've been the peer recruiter, you've been out front, and the quarterback is always kind of the face of a recruiting class, but that seems like you're making it about you. Like, did the coaching staff ask him to move to Lincoln to help in recruiting?
Oh, I don't know.
If so, that's a whole other can of worms.
Yeah, I don't know if they asked him. I think
the side benefit.
Look, it's number one. If you got to, in order to get paid in Nebraska, you got to be here. So it's an option, and I can tell you, I would have been hooping, and I'm telling you, like I always tell people, if I play high school football down here, they'd have a statue for me on the basketball court and the football court, on the football field. But I would have probably came too. So I can't fault them for that. And now, since you're going to be here, just like a lot of other, people, when you tweet and do all, I guess they DM each other or whatever they're doing, then you do, peer recruit. I don't think Nebraska needs him to, recruit. They're doing a good job, especially with the 2027. So he's just here. He's like kind of the face of 2027 class. They're trying to make it the best class that they've had in some time. And then him being on site probably just helps out a little bit.
But I think it'd be healthier for the program to move fast the phase of the program stuff. The program's got to recruit itself. The program's got to sell itself. And sure, you have the linchpin. You have the guys that are talking with each other.
The peer recruiting
it's going to happen.
It's a jump start.
Yeah.
It's a jump start.
Yeah. It's going to happen. It's got to happen. But Nebraska can't portray Trae Taylor as this is the reason that you will want to come to Nebraska.
No, he's a part of the reason. And it's always good as a skill player, and even from a defensive player, whether I'm in 27 or 28, who's going to be the quarterback, because how they play quarterback affects how I play defense. So you want to have him around. He's not the savior.
You can't go that route again.
No, nobody is. Like, everybody needs to understand, when you come here, you're just a part of your Piston, dude. And sometimes you're a bigger Piston. That's why they have guys' names up in the stadiums. That's why guys end up getting in the Hall of Fame. But there's a lot of good players, and there's a lot of good players that came here that don't have their name in the stadium, that played a ton of years in the NFL. And they were really good players even when they were here. And so there's only 3 or 4 players that we saw this year, one with Emmett. You got to have a special year, special team, and opportunity to really get the accolades. Now, like with Trae being here and being a part of the peer recruiting, I will tell you, peer recruiting has been going on forever.
It should. It's natural. It's normal.
But it is like, so for me, when I came on my recruiting trip, I know everybody thinks recruiting and football was so different. It's the same. I didn't get my picture taken. We didn't get our picture taken or anything like that. But on my recruiting trip,
you didn't get your ham sandwich.
Didn't get a ham sandwich. We did not get anything. Matter of fact, the dude that hosted me on my recruiting trip didn't give me my dang money. A little shady, not just playing.
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know exactly right. But so it was me on my recruiting trip, Grant Wistrom, Mike Rucker, and I want to say Jason Wills.
Shoot.
So we all end up eventually coming, but we all kind of kept in contact with, and Jonathan Brown, who actually went to Tennessee, defensive end.
Okay.
But I played against Jonathan Brown and Marcus Nash in AAU, so I knew him just by competitive. We all kind of talked to each other, like kept in contact. Now, I kept in contact with them. Hey, what are you thinking? Whatever. Especially Jonathan Brown, just because we hit it off because we had faced each other 2 years in a row in the semifinals. So we kind of had that kind of familiarity. And then Mike Rucker, he committed before I did. And then Grant was the number 1 overall player, defensive player for sure, USA Today All-American then. So I kind of kept in contact with him. Here's the funny thing about it. Me and Grant ended up playing in the Big 33 game, which was kind of like the under whatever it is, right? And so we roomed out there, but we didn't really talk much prior to that, but we had met each other. So the peer recruiting in that vacuum, without cell phones, we had to pick up the phone. We had to actually talk with each other. If you didn't get them on the phone, you had to leave a message. Right. I left a message with, Miss Rucker and all that, Mr. Wiltz and all that. So it's been going on for a while, and that's what you need in recruiting. You need peer recruiting. Trae's a highly ranked quarterback. He's trying to get, Ahmad Hudson and all these guys and all that. But that's great. The biggest thing right now, what will help the peer recruiting is the W's. Like,
right. That's the program selling itself.
It is, like Mendoza being there, right? And then you get the quarterback from TCU.
Yeah,
right. So that big national championship ring and that replay of that's in your stadium, that's it. Now what you're able to do with the new quarterback and what you're able to do with Mendoza is able to peer recruit through Hoover, because for 2 years in a row they've had some pretty dang good quarterbacks.
Rourke to Mendoza, now to Hoover.
Right. And so now when he calls, hey, I'm at Indiana, so like, I can't do any more. The portal's over, or the portal's closed. But anybody they want to get, there you go. So wherever you're at the program, you got to kind of do a little bit different, and that's just the way it goes.
Cherry Bomb, Jay, do you have an extra year of eligibility to help out that linebacker room?
I do not. I got 2 plays, first and last.
There we go. Big Hoss and Cupster want to know, does Trae Taylor now become an in-state recruit? I don't know. That's above my pay grade. Want to get to this from 5162 and 9315. 5162, I don't understand how he can live in Lincoln and play for Millard South. How does that work? I think you can be an open district as long as you get the paperwork filed. You can live wherever and play wherever. I don't know that for a fact. I've been working on confirming that behind the scenes. But, Jay, I think that leads into this question then from 9315. Well, not really a question, but we'll make it one. I hate the move for what it does for high school football and for Taylor's development. Level of competition drops for him, and it's always just Millard South's turn to super load up again. Here's the question. Here's the question, though. Why not a juggernaut school in Lincoln since he is living in Lincoln? Because there are no juggernaut programs in Lincoln.
Why is that, though?
If you're Lincoln East, if you're Lincoln Southwest, if you're Lincoln Southeast, right, the ones that come to mind first, you should be thinking, this should be us. But guess what? You did not put yourself in position to get this young man. You have had years to get your programs up and running to state championship caliber level. And I get it. It's hard to see the future. You didn't know this was coming. It's the first time it's happened.
I like how you talking, Austin.
But, Jay, these programs in Lincoln have had decades to take down the Metro and haven't done it.
I like how you talking.
You lost your chance. He should be in Lincoln. He should be. Absolutely.
He should be.
But you lost your chance.
Yeah. Yeah, so now do something about it.
Get pissed off.
I like how you talking, though, man. I mean, I like how you're thinking, too. And it's 100% truth. I take a lot of I get a lot of daggers because I go pretty hard. Hey, you know,
I'll take some for you this time. We're in this together,
listen,
Jay. We're in this
listen.
together.
Megan Butenbach got after me one time. I walked into a hornet's nest trying to get my neck snapped, and they were waiting. It was a bunch of Southeast moms waiting for me because I was talking about the football program, and they weren't competitive in Lincoln. There was 3 of them waiting. So I thought they were waiting at the chiropractor. So I come bopping in there. Hey, Megan. She turns around. Oh, I've been waiting for you. gave me the
business.
All of them. Oh, this is so and so, mom. This is so and so, mom. And they all were good players, so I kind of piped down on it. And it's your point is on point because you remember when obviously Dylan was still here, Dayton was going into his senior year. There were rumors that he was going to move to Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
No, they were just rumors, though. There was a little bit to it. Probably looked at the landscape in Lincoln, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your brother lives here. Why would he go live in Omaha? His brother lives here. Why would he commute? You know, we're just talking about that situation to double down on what you're saying. And now, is Trae Taylor coming here essentially for 4 months?
Right, because he'll enroll in January almost assuredly.
Right, yeah. So is that really going to, move the needle for, I guess, I don't know, is it LPS or whoever to become, more competitive? Probably not. It's probably something that you could just add on to it.
Mm-hmm.
They'll push back. They're more education-based. So is Omaha, right? I just think
but it's the badge of honor. You're just down the street. You should be good enough to, if something like this was going to happen, it's the pat on the back. Hey, you've done a good job. We respect what you've done. Hey, here's our prize recruit. Take good care of him. We know you will.
Right. And I don't think it's hey, you guys aren't good enough. I think it's okay, this is a program we know that they've put guys and
is also good enough.
Is good enough, but they also have the structure and they have the accountability, the program and the training in the weight room and all that to develop to get you. You can't deny Jet Tamala has gotten better from sophomore to in bigger, stronger, better as a quarterback from sophomore to senior year. So if I'm pointing you there. Now you have the chance here to do it in Lincoln. I will tell you there is a uptick in talent in Lincoln. Now you just got to find ways to foster it. Also, it's not just LPS. It is also on the coaches to do better, to not hold it against guys that go out and seek outside training and all that stuff. And then it's on the parents to, if you have kids that want to potentially go anywhere to play football, in this case, to support them. Now, everybody has their own checkbook, but also in some parts of Lincoln, there's probably the, upper echelon as far as the, economic system. So I don't think it's a slap in the face. I think it's an easy decision, but it's also a point well made that, there is going to be a time. There has to be a time where you're okay, we can actually keep our same principles here, but then also provide life skills and things that could help these kids. I think sometimes when you really just kind of turn your nose up at what Omaha's doing or willing to do, you miss all the life lessons and learning lessons, what sports helps these kids do that actually will magnify and then obviously accelerate what you're doing in the classroom.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm going to get to this from text line as well. So 9315 says, my point is he should want to build a program in Lincoln like he will have to build it in Nebraska. To your point, he's here for 4 months. You're not building a program.
You're not building anything.
And if you're Nebraska, the way quarterbacks commit, you're rarely, if ever, getting kid to commit as a freshman. You're not moving a 14-year-old for the first time in his life just to play in one of your feeder programs. You're not doing that. You're waiting until they're a junior, maybe, or a senior, like now for Trae Taylor. So I don't think there's necessarily that pathway. But then, Jay, the conversation we've had and kind of danced around a little bit, Lincoln schools are handicapped by LPS's management compared to Omaha schools. Maybe, okay, you can point to the places where that's true, but is that not also maybe on not just the football program, but the University of Nebraska Lincoln for not saying, hey, here's what we're teaching our kids, here's what we're developing, here's how you can feed into and make us even better, right? Is the University of Nebraska ignoring the LPS system? I don't know. I'd love to know what the partnership and what the crossover is, but whether it's in academics, whether it's fostering the next generation of leaders in that way, of scholars and, academics, or kids that are just, want to go to the state school because it's right up the road, because it's cheapest, or its athletes? Is there more the football program could be doing for LPS football? Is there more the university should be wanting to do for LPS to make sure it's in the healthiest spot to make that, the bulk and the base of its enrollment? Because, hey, guess what? There's been a big push around Nebraska. Hey, keep our leaders here, right? Silicon Prairie, Lincoln's an emerging city. There's got to be some partnership between the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, the University of Nebraska system, and LPS and OPS to keep as much of that talent in state, whether it's football, academics, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much how, I can't speak directly for Coach Osborne, but I know that the whole state was kind of replicating what Nebraska was doing. So when they were able to go and evaluate kids, they were able to kind of see, 2 or 3 years down the road. That's why you're able to go get a kid, like a Terry Keneally, from way out like by Hay Springs and understand like, oh, he's going to be something. Or you get the Zach Wiegert that, didn't play his senior year, but played basketball, but he knew his brother played here, but they kind of ran the Nebraska system. Eric Crouch ran Nebraska system in high school. So when he came down, he was ready to go.
Yeah.
Like I know that for a fact. He ran it. So when he came in, he already had thousands of reps. And so it's not on the university to do it. I think they'd have the coaches clinic, and I'm sure, Matt Rule, he likes to, be around coaches. I'm sure he would, help them out any way possible. It's also up to some of the high school programs to try to figure it out and try to see where they can, make some hay. Now, the question or the text here from 1611, I don't know if did you read that one?
Go for it.
It's pretty interesting here. And, if we had more time or maybe in the next segment, some texters, we love your opinion. You guys have been in Lincoln longer than me. Well, it'd be hard. I mean, I've been here since since I've been 18. Won't age myself.
I was born and raised here, and you've been in Lincoln longer than I have.
Thanks, Austin. I think with the birthday coming up, I'm glad you just reminded me.
You're welcome.
And on cold days like this, you reminded me again.
Lincoln, friends like me,
right? It says 1611 unknown texter says Lincoln Public Schools look at sports as club, no different than chess or math. Always have. Former district AD Kathy Wieskamp,
I think. Yeah.
Publicly said this along with preferring to give coaching jobs to teachers. Is that true?
I mean, I can only speak not from the LPS perspective, but I know at Lincoln Lutheran, they liked it when the coaches taught at Lincoln Lutheran, or at least employed by it. And I understand it, right? I think that should be part of the community aspect of it, is that you're ingrained in the community, right? If kids are doing extracurriculars, teachers are as well, right? These are kids that you see on a daily basis or a weekly basis, or you've gotten to know. I think it's a very idealistic way to go about it, is to have your coaches be teachers, be employed by the school or the district, right? So you can get to know them, build and form and strengthen those community bonds. Is that the best way to foster competition? Hasn't seemed like it.
Yeah. So you have to be, what if you're like a security guard? So would you be in the LPS system, right? What if you're like an assistant gym teacher?
That's fine by me as far as I'm concerned. I'm not running LPS though.
Well, no, I'm just asking. I'm putting it out there, like, for people that if they have better knowledge than me, if you're, say, like Austin Orman is.
Ben, I know Lincoln Lutheran is not LPS. I know I said that. I said it's different. Get it.
But what if like you are like a resource officer or something like that? You know what I mean? One of my coaches. That's what one of my coaches. That's Walt West. That's what he was. I mean, he looks at you. That we didn't have weed back then. You smoking cigarettes, you getting jacked up, right? So that was him.
Yeah.
Our offensive line coach was a resource officer at the middle school, and so it seemed to be okay. He was there for like 20 some years.
Just get the best teachers, get the best coaches. If the best teachers are also the best coaches, great, hire them. But if the best coaches are not a teacher, you shouldn't be forced to hire a lesser coach.
No,
if you care about winning.
It's not even about winning. It's like everybody. I guess I know we're up against the clock. I don't hate it, but it's the easy thing to say, and I'm not going against you. I'm just saying, people say it's not all about winning. It's not all about them going pros. Like that's not the point when I'm talking about that. That's the farthest thing from the point. Like what you learn from sports and being taught how to win, what it takes to win, what it takes to be prepared, to be accountable. It's a disciplinary avenue for your teachers. You mess up in school, you're not playing.
Mm-hmm. Or it just teaches you regular discipline, even if you're not getting disciplined.
You disrespect, Mr. Orman in whatever class. Oh, he's coming to me, or we're working together to deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
You
don't turn in your assignment, you can't play.
Right.
Whatever.
And for a lot of kids it's an avenue for them if they don't have all the resources outside of all that stuff. It's able to them to be exposed to potential people that can help them and guide them, and not guide them, show them ways to better themselves. That's what sports is about. Now, and
we shouldn't care if that comes from the lunch lady, the PE teacher, the biology teacher,
garbage man,
or the insurance guy down the street.
Right. And this is also no way going at any of the Lincoln coaches or anything like that. So I don't want to hear that stupid talk either. This is just being honest to God truth, because in order to catch up to no kid wants to, I know there's kids for real walking around Lincoln potentially could go out with sports. And they're like, why would I want to go out for a sport and I'm going to get my butt kicked?
Hate that mentality.
But it's a reality. But it's a reality.
Yeah.
It's a reality. Get my butt kicked, because once they start playing other teams, it's a little bit, harder, mountain to climb. So
yeah,
we'll take a quick break. We got a lot of text there.
I want to get to James's specifically.
Big game James.
James Worthy on our text line.
Yeah, let's see what big game James they're talking about.
James, we'll talk to you. Answer your text when we get back to Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Change begins with you. Join a weight loss medication study at Solarion and earn cash in the process. If you are 19 to 65 years old with excess weight to lose, you may qualify. Participants could earn up to $22,750 for their time. Study includes 1 2-night stay, 1 3-night stay, and 38 returns. Learn more at helpresearch.com/flamingo or call 866-213-2965. Weight loss not guaranteed.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings, thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get 1 half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
Hi, I'm Scott Miller, Business Development Officer at Midwest Bank's Lincoln branches. As a lifelong Lincolnite with over 30 years of experience in financial management, I'm here to help your business grow and succeed. My focus is building strong relationships with businesses and clients across Lincoln. Because at Midwest Bank, we believe banking is about people, not just numbers. Visit us at midwest.bank or stop by one of our Lincoln locations. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment or sweat it out on your way home from work, With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. You coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
The 2026 Love Nebraska season is underway, and professional volleyball is back in a big way. From powerful serves to game-changing rallies, every match brings elite competition to the court. See some of the game's top athletes, including Lexi Rodriguez and Jordan Larson, compete right here in Nebraska. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the sport, there's a match for you this season. Explore the full schedule and plan your night out at lovbneb.com/schedule.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, back wrapping up hour one of Old School, brought to you as always by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. I'm Austin Norman. He is Jay Foreman. Jay, we're going to get to this from our starter Heyman Jewelers text line. Big game, James Worthy, maybe, here in Lincoln. What if fostering competition in order to be a feeder system to college big business sports wasn't the goal of high school sports? That shouldn't be the goal. We are still talking about children here. James, I get it. Amen. Shout it from the rooftops. Here's the thing. That is very rose-colored glasses. That is very idealistic. I'm not saying we can't go back to that. It's going to be very hard to put this toothpaste back into the proverbial tube. Right? It doesn't have to be all about winning, but you have to teach kids how to win gracefully, right? We should teach them that, hey, whatever you do, be successful at. What's success? Winning, right? And yet, sure, adults can be the problem. Adults are in charge. The system's going one way. It needs to course correct. It probably can't go this way. But, Jay, that's why it's just been so frustrating for me. One of my biggest frustrations with this era is just the blurring of the demarcation of the differences between levels of sport, right? You should have a jump. There should be more perks that come with playing in high school compared to middle school. There should be more perks in college compared to high school. More perks in the pros compared to college.
Right.
But so many times now we see the lines between pro and college get blurred.
Yeah.
And the lines between high school and college get blurred. And I know there will always be differences in speed of the game, in the money. But I wish that we could just be okay with each level being what it was, serving its purpose, instead of always having to try to take the next step to be the next level up.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I know what James is saying is like not everybody is going to play high school to go to college, and they're trying to, and I would say, okay, well, what if there's 20 kids that just want to have their best high school experience playing whatever sport they want? Wouldn't that give them their best experience? Because they'll never play again.
Right.
So they want to have fond memories. Going through whatever you go through when you play sports builds a lifelong bond with, your teammates.
Whoever you go through it with.
And your coaches. And so, yeah, you're not, I don't think you need to have I don't think Nebraska as a state is capable of having a feeder system to any school, but there are some that are a little bit ahead and they really build a program. Here's an example. I'll tell you this. Was it Coach Woodard at Bellevue West? So I got to talk to him. I always admired how he went about his business. So I ran into him at Omaha Airport. It was actually shortly after he retired. And I asked him about, how does he do his preseason? How does he do tryouts? He's like, oh, by the time I get the tryouts, I know. He's like, we built a program. They're dedicated. We know what we're getting by the time the season starts. That's all that we're talking about. You're invested. Now it's not, I do believe in playing one, more than one sport. I think part of the system has allowed coaches to kind of make you pick one sport. I think you should be a multiple sport kid, if you're capable of. I think there should be continuity from one head coach in one sport to another and be respectful and so forth and so on. I think the best way you could start is trying to have coaches build a program from where they're at down. So that means down to the Pee Wee leagues up to high school.
Yeah.
Then you will have less of what we've been seeing the last couple of years around here and more consistent in that. Then you'll see some upsets.
Yeah. I think too that's one of the reasons that I don't necessarily want to punish Millard South or see them just artificially handicapped or kneecapped just because we don't like it. Because who am I to
everybody uncomfortable?
Right. As long as it's done in a good way. Right. Because if there are enough kids, enough parents that think the best version of the high school experience for them and for their son or daughter, whatever it is, whatever program. Let's just use the football program, right? If there's a kid that says, no, the best experience for me is going to be going to Millard South. I'll transfer in. I'm a good player. I'm going to win a state championship. That's what's best for me. Who am I to say it's not? I don't have to like it if you transfer in from, Grand Island or Kearney or, Lincoln or Carmel, Illinois to do. I don't have to like it. But who am I to tell you that's not what's best for you? Yeah. But I don't want what's best for that program to get in the way of other Class A schools feeling so defeated and kids of these schools feeling so defeated they don't have enough kids to run a program or being poached from, again, if you're a good player at Benson or Bryan or wherever the heck you are, and you want to go to Millard South because you're good enough to compete at that level, I get it. I just wish that the system would be set up to reward the coaches who have developed good players at other high schools and that feel like they have a legitimate shot to compete, even if it's David versus Goliath, right? I mean, a tale of biblical proportions. There's nothing like that in Nebraska high school football, right? It's never that serious. It's never that deep. But I just wish we could get back to a place where there was some pride, some loyalty, and hey, this is where I grew up. This is who I grew up with. Sure, some of them are going to want to spread their wings and go somewhere else, but I just wish that was college instead of somewhere else in class.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder because you don't have like, I guess, lines to where you have to go to, and then let alone, more importantly, you don't have middle school football.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I mean,
yeah.
So you get middle school football back then you can kind of really see what you got coming up the pipe. Then you're like, all right, we got to beat them.
Yeah.
And then you might have to get on the road and go play up in Omaha sometimes. So that way you can kind of get used to that type of competition and see where it's at.
Graham Tire sponsors Old School. Heartland Nebraska Windows sponsors Hour One. Speaking of middle school football, it kind of seems like what the SEC is playing right now. The Big Ten's playing high school football. Who wins a national championship next? Oregon or anyone in the SEC? Let's talk about the Big Ten's recent dominance in the championship sphere next on Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment or sweat it out on your way home from work. With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Mo's Moving is now Mo's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
The 2026 Love Nebraska season is underway, and professional volleyball is back in a big way. From powerful serves to game-changing rallies, every match brings elite competition to the court. See some of the game's top athletes, including Lexi Rodriguez and Jordan Larson, compete right here in Nebraska. Whether you're a longtime fan or new to the sport, there's a match for you this season. Explore the full schedule and plan your night out at lovbneb.com/schedule.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
This is your year to win way more than bragging rights. At Warhorse Casino, your love of the game could earn you serious cash. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with cash prizes all season long, like up to $1,000 weekly, with your chance at $1 million, all while earning tier points and comp points every time you place a sports bet. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
This is Alexander Fern, the voice of the Lincoln Stars, telling you to join the Stars Saturday, January 24th at the Icebox for our annual Aubrey Brown Club night. The Stars are at home to take on the Omaha Lancers at 6 p.m. Proceeds from the night will go toward a great cause. The Aubrey Brown Club is a local foundation that helps parents through the tragedy of child loss. The Stars will be wearing special jerseys that will be auctioned off following the game. And don't miss a great night for a great cause at the Icebox, Saturday, January 24th. Tickets are available at lincolnstars.com. Proceeds from the night will be donated to the Aubrey Brown Club.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts, answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome into hour 2 of Old School. I'm Austin. He's Jay. You're you. Thanks for listening as always. 402-464-5685 is our starter Heyman Jewelers text line for you to participate in the show. Big thanks to Graham Tire Company. Participate with them and all the great work that they do at one of their 4 Lincoln locations. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. They're more than just tires. They do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. It's Graham Tire who's getting you to the places that matter most. Jay, I posed this question to some in the office before. Got a variety of responses. I'll pose it to you. And it's part of a bigger discussion. It's just the jumping off point. Who wins a college football playoff national championship sooner? Is it the Oregon Ducks or is it anyone in the SEC?
For Big Ten purposes, obviously you'd say Oregon, but I think,
but do you believe it?
No.
You're convicted in that?
No, not the way that they played against Indiana.
Well, that's your 1 seed and your 5 seed in the first 2.
Yeah, let me think
playoffs.
about Oregon. I mean, I think the SEC will win one. You talking about next year or just
who wins it sooner?
Oh, SEC. They'll be on a mission now.
Back to cheating?
Yeah,
they'll go back to it.
Yeah, they'll
get
find
creative?
it. Yeah, they'll get more creative, and the more rules you have, the more creative they'll get.
Your options in the SEC, just kind of as a general overview. You got to have Georgia in the conversation, obviously.
Yeah.
Alabama hasn't gone anywhere, even if they might be slightly diminished. LSU.
And then you always just say, okay, who's it?
Someone else.
Someone else.
Is it Florida? Is it Tennessee? Is it Ole Miss? Are they able to maintain? Does Missouri take another step? Texas is there.
Oklahoma.
Your boy Nick picked Oklahoma.
I like it.
I don't know if I see it. I just don't trust Venables as much as I do Lanning. Which is not saying I trust Dan Lanning, but I think Oregon's got a better team coming back than Oklahoma.
Yes, because it's a quarterback. And the defense.
The defenses aren't that far apart.
The defensive line coming back for Oregon is good.
Yes.
And they got those young DBs. The 3 of them are freshmen. So oddly enough, I'll say Oregon, sentimental factor. Because even though Dan Lanning is a psychopath, but I like him. He's my psychopath. I like him.
He is your psychopath.
I think this is the hard thing. It's not the most crucial point in Dan Lanning's career, but this is a big year for him.
Mm-hmm.
You got your quarterback back. You're paying him a whole bunch of money.
Ascendant talent.
You got the if anything happens, the more you got Dylan there.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no excuses there. You've recruited like a madman.
Mm-hmm.
You got your defense coming back. You do have 2 new coordinators, but it's easier to be a coordinator when you got a Heisman potential finalist quarterback, a plethora of running backs, and a defense and a defensive line coming back as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And that man leading. I'm saying Oregon's probably going to be the odds-on favorite.
So
they're getting closer.
Indeed. That's the argument for Oregon. Let's make the argument for some of those SEC teams. The argument for Texas is the quarterback argument, right? You think Arch Manning will be better, and they're doing a spending spree, right, with his supporting cast. The argument for LSU is, hey, Lane's been close before with our resources and, a college football playoff quarterback in Leavitt. There you are. Bama is just Alabama, right? I think they still get a lot of benefit of the doubt, even if they're a 9-3, 10-2 program now. And then what would your argument be for Tennessee? What would your argument be for Florida, who I think is a couple of years away? Can Ole Miss sustain it?
I would say for Tennessee,
Oklahoma, right?
They were in the college football playoffs, especially if they expand. They were in the college football playoffs 2 years ago. They've spent a little bit more. They changed, obviously, their strength and conditioning coach. They have continuity with their head coach and quarterback. And the more teams that get in playoffs, Tennessee was close this year.
Right. But Oregon's been in the playoff more than any of those SEC teams outside of Georgia and Bama.
Right.
And they're spending money more than those teams.
And
they have more continuity.
And the thing about Oregon is they're like going a step, every year. It's kind of like
well, it's different for Oregon because they won a game this year, but they actually got a lower seed. So
yeah, but they
made the same round.
They looked better. You got to think that first they were number 1 seed and they went. Ohio State just walked the dog on them.
All
right.
And did not pick up afterwards.
They did the same thing to Texas Tech. The game got out of hand. It probably wasn't as bad as it looked against Indiana, and they played Indiana tight the year or early in the year.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminds me of like Michigan, where they were kind of they got embarrassed a couple times, and you saw like this is different. That's why I say this next year for them is huge. Texas, I don't really know. I like Sark. I like Arch maybe at the end. I just don't think all the pizzazz and hype is going to be able to win them games. I think they'll lose a couple games in the SEC that they shouldn't.
Yeah, Will Muschamp back though, Jay.
Boy, you talking about get a king of hype. When him and Nick Saban were in like unison or in sync going off on that player, boy, I felt bad for him. Texas has all the tools, but there's just something about Texas that it's not championship quality. And I'm telling you, the team is every year in and year out is Georgia. They're always going to be in the mix. They're the way that they play, the game is always going to come down to Kirby and coaching, and then that defense is always going to be stacked and ready to go. That's why it's so hard for teams like Texas to get over the hump. That's why you can't beat them, because you're not going to outsize them. You're not going to outspeed them. And Kirby and his staff, there's so much continuity, you're not going to outcoach them.
And part of this, too, is with Georgia. To me, Jay, it didn't feel like this year's team was as good as the team that won the national championship, but also would have had to play more games, right? And then when you're two of the best Georgia teams of all time, it's going to be hard to meet that level. Are you sure Kirby Smart has the same edge, that he can get his teams to play with the same edge that the 21 and 22 teams did? Even 18, potentially.
I think he can.
Okay.
Now, it's a little bit harder considering that these kids are getting paid now, but I think you don't go to Georgia not knowing you're about to work.
Yeah.
So that's the type of kids he recruits.
Okay.
So I think he can. Now I think he's going to have to really adjust some of the way he goes about his offense, but you got to think they were right in the mix this year. Would you been surprised if Georgia ended up being a national champion this year.
No. I mean, maybe slightly surprised, certainly not shocked.
Right.
But isn't that kind of the point, too, in this discussion, is that the Big Ten has won 3 straight, and it's been from 3 different programs, right? That's a big deal for the Big Ten. First time since the 40s that's happened. And you have to give the Big Ten credit to what it did in adapting to the new system, taking advantage of the rules, bending and or breaking some others. And in 2023, we don't need to relitigate that. But the point is that the conversation hasn't necessarily shifted on the national basis to the Big Ten as the preeminent power, right? Michigan got its championship. Oh, well, they were cheating. Indiana won its. Oh, but it's just Indiana. Ohio State. Okay, that makes sense. They're always good. They're always loaded. But even that Ohio State championship, Jay, they didn't participate in the Big Ten championship game.
Yeah.
They got a home game. They went on a run. But what were they? They were in the mix.
Yeah.
The SEC will always be in the mix, right? I'm not asking who's going to be the next overall number 1 seed, if it's Oregon or the SEC, or, who gets the first round buys, right? Oregon or an SEC team or multiple, whatever. The point is that there will always be multiple SEC teams in the mix. And like we saw with Miami, if you're in the mix, get the right matchup, you can make a run and maybe make history.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, man, it's tough, man. I mean, you got to, I think the one thing that SEC has, and the Big Ten obviously is showing that they have it too. Now you need that 4th team and maybe a 5th team to be in there for the Big Ten. Now, Big Ten, this is when you got to swing the big stick now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need what you did in the past when you guys were paying people, under the table or through the back door. We're all coming through the front door. Now you're seeing, the level playing. Now we have control. So now we need to try to find a way to level up team 4 and 5 along with keeping the same 3. But that's where the SEC feels like they have, and it's weird because they really don't. Because anytime you get in the bowl, they lose in the bowl games, right? I will walk the dog on Vanderbilt.
Well, let's just look at the top 5 in the SEC standings. We didn't even mention A&M.
Right.
Right.
That's and that's the team. That's the most dangerous team right there.
To themselves and others.
Yeah, but to the world. Because of that quarterback.
Yeah.
And the learning experience.
So your top 5 in the SEC: Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss, A&M, and Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your top 5 in the Big Ten this year: Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, Michigan, USC. Michigan went 7-2 in the Big Ten this year on the sneak.
Yeah, I know. On a humbug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you think with Whittingham there now?
With turmoil.
Right. You would like their chances to maintain. So then, Jay, you get to that next group. USC has not qualified for a college football playoff, 4-team or 12-team edition.
Right.
Lincoln Riley has. USC hasn't. Iowa hasn't been there. Illinois hasn't been there. Minnesota hasn't been there. Washington has been there. The 4-team version. Maybe they're ascendant. Nebraska hasn't been there. You have to get all the way down to Penn State. He went 3-6. You like to think that they'd be back there with Matt Campbell, but will it be a 1-year blip this year, or will they be back there much quicker? And then you can flip that right around on the SEC. Was okay, your top 5 were pretty good. Oklahoma ended up making it in the play-in essentially round against Alabama. Vandy was knocking on the door. Then you get to LSU. Obviously, they were going through some stuff, and they could be different. But Missouri and Tennessee didn't beat a power conference team with a winning record all year, right? Those are paper tigers there. So you can make the argument that the SEC
There's a bunch of paper champs.
Right, being make the same about Big Ten 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Who's it got to be in the Big Ten, right?
If you're going to match
if they're going to match those top 5 of Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss, A&M, Texas, shoot, even extend it to 6 with Oklahoma because they've at least been there before. I mean, Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon. What's the best combination of the next 3 teams for the Big Ten of teams that are in or around the conversation every year?
Reluctantly, I'll say USC.
Okay.
They had a sneaky good season for them.
Mm-hmm.
They just ran out a little bit of steam. And we'll see with the addition of Mike Eckler, associate head coach, linebacker coach, special teams, and whatever else he got on the title.
Hype Man Productions.
It could be the reason why I say USC because they're close, right? So they're probably a little bit more closer judging on this year who USC beat versus Vanderbilt in Tennessee, right? Sure. Or Vanderbilt in Missouri. So that's 4. Now, ideally, on a normal year, if James Franklin was still there, but I think Matt Campbell would do I would say Penn State as well. So now we're at 5.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, like, this year was
that's where you got Michigan.
That's where, right, Michigan. So, but then that's that next tier of it's that race or fight to 6.
Yeah.
So even if you take Penn State out of it, so the race to 5 and 6 has a plethora of teams for the Big Ten, what I feel has more depth or potential. That's why this year was so huge for Nebraska, right? To get up in that mix, right? Because then that's where if you go Michigan, Penn State, Nebraska, and then you just say the darling of like out of nowhere, Illinois, right? When they had a sneaky good year 2 years ago, thought it was going to be a playoff this year. And
I think you got to add Iowa and Washington to that mix.
And I was going to say Washington for the way that they are able to score. And they, obviously they lost the national championship before. Iowa as well, but I'm going to wait and see.
But Iowa's always around the conversation, right? They're at least in the top 25 rankings. They could Oklahoma their way in with like a 10-2 season, knock off a big boy.
They're definitely, it's schedule and circumstance based.
Yeah.
A little bit easier now. Matt Campbell's not in Ames, Iowa anymore. So yeah, I was there. I think Iowa's ceiling isn't hit as much. That's why it's like Nebraska's ceiling, and I hate the word potential because generally you never get there. All the teams that I mentioned before Iowa, including Washington, their potential and ceiling is a lot higher.
Yeah.
So that will get you up in there. Now, what I want to see is in the preseason rankings, when is the Big Ten going to get the benefit of the doubt of the Missouris, of Vanderbilts, of the Tennessees, all that coming into the season? Because that's why they were in the conversation. It wasn't what they did on the football field. And I guess if you want to do it and throw Nebraska in the same category, throw in Auburn. They're always in the top in the recruiting. And so they're just waiting for the one coach that's down there.
Well, Auburn or Florida.
Right. To get him. Yeah, but Auburn is it's weird. You can't trust either of them. And I would say Auburn and Florida is just like what type of diarrhea you want. But I just think like Auburn, just the way that they always are able to play teams, like that game against Missouri this year, that Auburn game, that was a really good football game. That Auburn game against Georgia, where they kind of got hosed and the referee like retired or got fired or got sent in. It seems like they're closer than Florida, and Florida's like, yeah, we hired Napier. You know what? 6 months we'd rather get rid of him, but we're going to roll with him. And he goes on a run in the season. Yeah, well, this is when we're going to fire you when we don't need to. I think Florida is talent wise there. I just think there's so many things hurting Florida to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And I think Auburn is a little bit more ready-made just because of the rivalry and all that other stuff of in-state.
Let me answer the other question you asked. When does the Big Ten start getting that preseason, respect in the top 25? Well, it's when the Big Ten builds Fox up to the same level ESPN is. I know ESPN doesn't run the AP poll. It's the Associated Press, obviously. ESPN doesn't run the coaches poll. But ESPN in the studio shows still carry a lot more weight than Fox's does. Right? ESPN has the sports on, right? They have the dedicated college football shows throughout the week, right? Yeah. Fox doesn't have that. They don't have that.
And they don't have it
infrastructure.
year round either.
Not year round.
And they don't have it like hour on the loop because it's getting in the morning with the first take and all that. Then it goes to when they have a college show, and that's when they bring in Desmond Howard and all those. So they that is you're 100% right there. So you're kind of
you find an uphill battle,
right?
And you might never get there. At some point, if you're the Big Ten, I think you have to push for alternating years, the selection show being on ESPN versus being on Fox.
I like that, yeah.
That's going to have to be your move, and you have to build up that studio infrastructure that even if they're just talking into a void, at least it's out there. Fox's social media, promoting Big Ten, even Big 12, because they're a partner there, content is not on the same level. It's not taken as seriously as the SportsCenter account that's pushing out those highlights. And I'm not going to say it's all SEC, ACC bias from ESPN. But just on the surface, you're getting more coverage, and you have this connotation in the back of your mind that, this is the SEC and the ACC network.
Yeah.
It's been a talking point that the Big Ten is not on ESPN. They're not partnered with them. They'll get brought up. But you have a platform, if you're the SEC, to stump for your teams on ESPN and another network dedicated to yourself, run by ESPN, as opposed to the Big Ten. Fox has been fine. I don't have any major issues with Fox, except for the Big Ten, that it's not on the same level as ESPN is right now.
And that's why you got the Tim Tebow's, the Marcus Spears, even like Ryan Clark a little bit. Obviously, you got a bunch of I mean, you just got to keep battling, I guess, and start making some noise. I mean, I think I think it's a great time right now because they're talking about expansion to 12, even starting next year, which would be great. This is a great time for the Big Ten to say, okay, we're doing it. And that's why you see the SEC pushing back on it. They want they want paid for what they did 6 years ago in present time, where the Big Ten wants paid for what we're doing right now, which you should be able to have more piece of the pie or more negotiation power. So hopefully they're able to do that. Then I think that'll flip the preseason rankings, because when you look at that, and yeah, everybody says it's a bowl game and all that. Listen, Pavia was out there and everybody from Vanderbilt was out there. Iowa had their players. So this is the team that the runner up to the Heisman, or one of the top Heisman Trophy vote getters, was saying needed to be in the playoffs. You played a ho-hum Iowa team, and they walked the dog on. They scored 40 points against you. Iowa.
Right.
Now, granted, they scored 40-some points there, a lot of points in Nebraska, but you were supposed to be – you're the team that beat Alabama 2 years ago. You're the guy – you were this close. You were just on the outside looking in, and Iowa in a bowl game, beat the brakes off you physically too. So this is where, if you're Big Ten, this is time I would try to flex my power. You have to right now.
When else will you have this opportunity?
Because you want to do it before a team from the SEC wins it next year, and they're like, "Yeah, we just let you guys do that." Now
you had your run.
We had your run.
Yeah,
it was a nice little. That was cute. Yeah, you want to do that because also let's not forget Nick Saban's on ESPN,
right?
Who is pretty much the underboss of
shadow commissioner.
Yeah, shadow commissioner, commissioner in waiting.
Right. And I to add on to my point too about that and switching networks, right, Jay, I think at some point, if we get to the college sports and college football break that I anticipate, if media rights get pooled, there's no reason the championship has to only be on ESPN. You can spread it around like the NFL does to, you alternate Fox, CBS.
Yep.
I don't think is ESPN have a Super Bowl? I don't know. But if Fox, CBS, and NBC at least have been the rotation, you can do that. You can spread it around once every 4 years. Get your A team on the call for the national championship.
Yeah, for sure. No, you got to have them come together and make it, a joint decision.
Yeah.
It's all about money. It's all about power. And so right now, Big Ten has the money and the power, because there's I read an article this morning that was saying that the SEC schools are a little bit upset because Big Ten schools have just as much or maybe more money than they have to get players. And so they're crying wolf, and I doubt Paul Finebaum is he acknowledged Indiana winning the national championship yet?
Doubt it.
Yeah.
Doubt it.
Well, he'll sleep all right. He'll get over it.
Let's acknowledge some Husker baseball. It's around the corner. We'll call up Evan Blandy of the Omaha World Herald for that conversation after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320. All right, fellas, it's January. You're setting goals, you're hitting the gym, but have you checked what's going on inside the engine? At Advanced Medical Imaging, the Wellness Within program makes it easy. They have different levels of preventive scans so you can choose exactly what fits your health goals. From quick baseline checks to full body insights. It's simple, it's smart, and it's all about keeping you in top form before problems ever sneak up. And the best part, you don't need a doctor's order. Just call AMI to schedule and make this the year you put your health on the schedule.
This is your year to win way more than bragging rights. At Warhorse Casino, your love of the game could earn you serious cash. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with cash prizes all season long, like up to $1,000 weekly, with your chance at $1 million, all while earning tier points and comp points every time you place a sports bet. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Need service? Call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome back in. It is Old School. Austin Norman, Jay Foreman with you. It's 4:30 on a Wednesday, which means we are headed to our Allo Fiber VIP line, where we are joined by Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. Let's bring him in right now. Evan Bland with us. Evan, a little colder, a little chillier on this Wednesday than the last time you were out at Husker baseball practice, but it's nearing. How's the new year starting off for you?
Doing great. Yeah, a little more traditional, maybe January weather today, and it's going to get colder the next couple. I think Friday's single digits at best. So more like basketball weather right now than anything else.
In the middle of basketball season, approaching baseball season, but still some football news to talk about. Obviously, having the transfer portal closed, but not for high school necessarily. Nebraska's 2027 recruit, Trae Taylor, transferring in from Carmel Catholic in Illinois to Millard South. Let's start with just your reaction when you heard that news, you found out about it. What did you make of that decision?
I mean, it gets your attention for sure. You see moves like that occasionally with national prospects like Trae Taylor. I can't think of a lot of examples where a player of his caliber comes into the state of Nebraska to play high school on his way to being a Husker. So, very notable that way. People might remember, Dylan Raiola a few years ago did it when he was a Georgia commit, moved from Arizona out to Buford, Georgia. So it does happen. I think my next reaction is like, if anyone was going to do something like this, it would be Trae Taylor. Like if you just followed his interaction with the fan base, if you followed his commitment level to the program and to the current coaching staff, like he's a guy who made it a point of being around whenever he could. You think back to before the USC game when he wanted to be here for that evening game, and his high school team had a playoff game. And so he put out on social media jokingly, like, anybody got a private jet so I can get out there by halftime? Like, that's his level of commitment to wanting to be a peer recruiter and building a rapport with his future teammates. And so now he's taken that to the next level by preparing to move out. And, I guess he said he's going to live in Lincoln and commute to Omaha and be a Patriot for a semester and be around Nebraska and the facilities whenever he can. So I don't think there was really any doubt about his zeal for promoting Nebraska and wanting to build that 27 class. And now even less so with the fact that he's going to finish out his high school career, playing Class A football. And just when people thought maybe Millard South was going to be mortal again, they reload with a 4-star who's going to Nebraska. So really interesting development from Nebraska's point of view, and I think at the high school level as well.
Who do you think benefits the most from this arrangement? Is it Nebraska? Is it Trae Taylor? Is it Millard South? Another party? Who do you think has the most benefit from this move?
I think there's going to be some benefit all the way around. I mean, certainly for Millard South, you're getting a guy again who's going to be a future Power 4 quarterback right after you bid adieu to Jet Tamala and what he did and sent him off to Alabama. It'll be a 1-year thing, and he's going to have to, earn the respect of his teammates there. So that's probably obviously a shorter term sort of deal. I think we've seen situations where guys enroll early, and like my personal thought is it maybe isn't super impactful necessarily. Like after a semester or two, everyone's kind of on the same level anyway. So I guess I would say it would be Nebraska maybe potentially could benefit the most from that. Just having another season of having Trae Taylor on the sidelines for every game, having him around to, hey, pop over for an official visit kind of thing. I'm not sure exactly what the rules are on that, but it kind of reminds you a little bit of when Dylan Raiola got to campus. Like he was the first guy to greet portal visitors and high school officials coming in and things like that. So maybe that's a situation where Trae Taylor can do that again. And I think some of it too is just his personality. Like it's not just being there for the sake of being there. Like he's an engaging guy. He's thoughtful. He's dynamic. He's someone who's been all over the country. So like, he's been going through the process since he was in middle school, taking visits. And so this is someone who I think can relate to these guys too. And say like, hey, out of all these places, this is why I chose Nebraska. This is why you could do the same. So I think that testimonial and that ability to build a face-to-face relationship in a time when you're getting hit up in your DMs all the time, I think could make a difference. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of as things play out, how many guys maybe credit Trae Taylor for that. But I do think as Nebraska's trying to build this 27 class to be among its better in school history, having Trae Taylor be a part of that is certainly a key aspect.
And something like this that Nebraska hasn't done recently, if ever, at least as far as I know, is it worth the trouble? Is it not worth the trouble? Is Trae Taylor, that good? Is he worth it? Well, he needs to be, and it needs to be worth it for Nebraska because this 2027 recruiting class on the heels of what's shaping up to be an important 2026, I think really needs to be a springboard in a lot of ways. And Evan, we've been through the savior narrative, the face of the program thing with Dylan Raiola. There's some strength, there's some good things that can come from it, but hopefully Nebraska has learned from the pitfalls of the Dylan Raiola thing, which I know is not an exact one-to-one comparison, but there are enough, I think, overarching broad similarities that Nebraska should have a better idea of how to handle a situation like this, even if it's not a one-to-one comparison.
Yeah, there are some similarities there. I think Raiola's experience as a recruit was a little bit different. He was a 5-star son of an NFL lineman, Husker legacy, all of that. Taylor was a guy who has been in the recruiting world for a long time, but I don't know that you'd say he's in kind of that very top, like national level echelon that Raiola was in necessarily. I think Nebraska's probably learned, and you've heard coaches say it, like the college football has changed in the portal era where you really do want to stay an older team. And so I think it would take a lot to happen for Trae Taylor to have to be a starter as a true freshman. I think the quarterback room's in a better spot than when Dylan Raiola came in a couple of years ago. I mean, obviously you've got Calandria for this year. I mean, heck, if the rules change to a 5-for-5, you could have Calandria for 2 more years in theory. Yeah. So that's a possibility. TJ Latif's there. Daniel Keelan has come back, which I think tells you a lot about kind of how he views his long-term future as it relates to Nebraska. So I think that is probably a luxury Nebraska has this time around, is to say, hey, yeah, we believe in you as the future of the program, but that future doesn't have to be rushed right away. You can take a semester, you can get up to speed with the college game, you can build a rapport with your teammates so that when you do become the leader, it's not because of the position you play, it's because you've earned it behind the scenes. And so I think Nebraska's probably learned that lesson. And long term, who knows? Transfers happen, coaching changes happen, things happen all the time in the portal. But it really does look like they've got a guy in Taylor who's committed to being a Husker for the long term. And, I think the future of that position is about as bright as you could ask it to be in this time where, again, things change so quickly.
Are there any downsides to a move like this for Trae Taylor, for Nebraska, for Millard South, for prep sports in Nebraska? Or do you think that this is a, pretty much all upside move and that this could become the norm for Nebraska football moving forward?
Well, if you're a backer of another local high school team, you're probably rolling your eyes a little bit and saying, really? Millard South, just after the dominant run that they've had for 2 years. And, I get kind of the frustration of, the transfer kind of culture drifting down to the high school level. So there's probably some frustration if you're a little bit more traditional with your high school sports. But that's how that is. I think Taylor wouldn't make a move like that unless he was obviously all in on Nebraska. And again, he's demonstrated that at every turn with his interaction with the fan base. And when he's got a podcast with another recruit, just kind of telling the gospel of Nebraska and life as a recruit. So, he strikes me as a guy who wouldn't sort of make this move on a whim. Like that's something that he's thought through, and Nebraska's clearly committed to him, and they know what he's all about. And it's not just the talent. I think we've seen, especially in the portal era, like you want a guy that you can count on and that is high character and that's going to do what he says he's going to do. And by all accounts, that's been what Taylor's done to this point. I kind of liked his, like he put on social media, he kind of considered it sort of like almost like a redshirt year where he's going to be playing high school football, but he's also going to be around his future college program and getting a sense of things. And so if there are any doubts, like you're going to find out what those are probably in the next, 10 or 11 months before he signs on the dotted line and ends up coming to Nebraska. So this probably clarifies that a little bit, but yeah, I think if you're a Husker fan too, you can go to Millard South games now on Friday night and check out what the future looks like. So that's kind of a cool deal too.
That voice you hear on our Allo Fiber VIP line is Evan Bland, writing for the Omaha World Herald. Find all his work online at omaha.com. Evan, let's switch gears to Husker baseball. 23 days and some change away from the Huskers having first pitch on their season down in Scottsdale against UConn. Now that you've had maybe some more time to look over this roster, get familiar with the names, when you look at the skill sets that are on the roster and the vision that Nebraska has, does this look like a Matt Rule, a Will Bolt team from previous years? Does it look like they went back to a certain year, to get a blueprint for what they wanted this roster to look like and how it's going to play?
Well, I think the pitching is following in the vein of what we've had and what we've seen in past years, where you feel like the rotation is starting to whittle down, and Ty Horn and Cooper Katsky, who's come in, is in the mix. Tucker Timmerman, Carson Yassa, who we've talked about. I think those are the four that you look at and say, if they can find a weekend rotation out of that, if you feel good about it, and if that fourth guy is performing well, then suddenly you have a midweek starter, which Nebraska has really struggled to find consistently this decade. So that would be a big deal. I think they do have pitching depth, and Rob Childress is doing what he does, and guys have developed. So I think there's optimism that that's going to, again, be a strength of this team, which does stand out in the Big Ten. I think the part that is a little bit more fascinating because it's more of an unknown is offensively, Nebraska made a conscious effort this offseason through the portal and in recruiting to pivot away from, at least a little bit, kind of the small ball approach, stringing together singles, working walks. Not that you aren't going to do that anymore, but they really put an emphasis on joining the trend in college baseball of let's power up. Let's, try to beat a talented pitcher with one swing of the bat instead of needing maybe two or three things to happen to score a run. And so they went out and they got guys like Jet Buck, who's going to play second base, who's got some power. Cole Kitchens, who's going to DH and play some first, and then a few other guys who've had double-digit home runs at lower levels, just to kind of see where they fit in. Dylan Carey, who's back for a fourth year at shortstop, has made a conscious effort to change his swing to be a little bit more of a slugger. Case Sanderson's sort of the same deal when he plays first base. So how that philosophical change translates to me is going to be really interesting. I mean, Nebraska had to do something. They were the lowest scoring team in the Big Ten last year, and they still made a regional. They still won the Big Ten tournament. So if they can even, be an average team in college baseball in terms of power, like what that could do to the win total, what that could do to boost the ceiling to me is really interesting. It didn't work when they tried it on a lesser scale last year. They brought in Cale Frost, and he had hit 20 plus home runs at South Dakota State, and that didn't pan out at this next level. So how well that pivot works for Nebraska, I think, is going to be one of the key storylines and how this season ends up going.
Do you have a sense for who it is that's working with these players to change their swing and change their approach? Is it one guy on the staff? Is it a combination? Is it their trainers back home? Is it their, Northwoods or Cape Cod League coaches? Like, where are these swing changes and ideas coming from, and who's helping the players implement them?
Yeah, I think it's a collective approach. I mean, I know Will Bolt does some of that. Lance Harvell and Mike Sirianni, two of the assistants, are involved in that as well. And then some of it too is like, hey, when you go on your summer assignment, work on this. Or if you're staying locally or you're going back home for the summer, connect with your local trainer or whoever it is you've been working with and emphasize this thing here or that thing there. And so it does kind of come in a lot of different ways. Like if you're a younger player and you're playing in the summer, you're looking for volume, like a lot of innings or as a hitter, a lot of at-bats and plate appearances. Whereas if you're a little bit of an older guy, you're maybe looking to challenge yourself a little bit more, like if you're going to the Cape Cod League or something like that. But I do think it's kind of a collective approach. And now they're back on campus, obviously, and practicing. And so you can start to see how some of that plays out. And they're going to be scrimmaging and have been scrimmaging as they're getting back into it here. But, now is when you start to see what the payoff of that looks like, how it looks competitively, and you start to try to define roles a little bit more and set a lineup and figure that out. So that's kind of where they are now. But yeah, I do think that's something that probably varies from person to person in the off season.
On that philosophical approach, obviously, when Nebraska's last in the Big Ten in runs scored, as you pointed out, something's got to change. But a big talking point in Major League Baseball, Evan, and obviously in college baseball as well, especially for northern teams that play in cold weather when the air's a little heavier, the ball doesn't necessarily start flying till later in the season. Has Nebraska been lagging that far behind in power numbers? And is this a way that Nebraska thinks that it has to catch up to other Big Ten teams? Or is maybe this a philosophical change that gets Nebraska maybe more in line with how regional style baseball is played?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons they made the switch was because they got a sense, especially last year, as tough as that schedule was, that like these are what the top end pitchers in college baseball look like. And it's different now than it was 5 years ago because the minor league system is smaller and you have NIL. And so you have guys in college now that you wouldn't see as much in the past. And so I think that's part of what sort of prompted this change. And yeah, in the Big Ten, because of the weather and the elements, you're going to need to score in different ways. Like some days the wind's going to be howling in and it's going to be 42 degrees on the real feel, and you're probably not going to be slugging a bunch. You're going to have to do it a little bit differently. But there are also going to be those days where you're playing some tough customers on the mound, and you might only get a couple big swings, and that's all you're going to get against them. And so I think that's part of what Nebraska was looking at. And I mean, certainly what they've seen in regional play the last couple of years is a reminder of the power disparity that they've had compared to some teams. I mean, Oklahoma was slugging the ball. I mean, they blew Nebraska out twice in North Carolina. You think about the series at Oklahoma State before that, when Florida was pounding the baseball in a couple of different meetings. So I think that really sort of underscored this idea that if Nebraska wants to do what it says it does, host a regional, contend for the College World Series, do those sorts of things, it's going to need to power up a bit. And so again, we'll see these guys that they have brought in have a track record of doing that at a lower level. How that translates this time around in the next few months, I think will be really instructive as to how the year goes.
The Royals fan in me is worried that Jack Caglione used up too many of those homers in the Stillwater Regional. I still hear the ping of the bat there, but not giving up on my boy Cags necessarily. Last one for you then, Evan. Obviously, Husker basketball in the midst of a really successful season still ongoing. They'll play Washington tonight. If you had to pick a Rink Mast and a Price Sanford for the Nebraska baseball team, who would you go with? For me, I think Dylan Carey would be my Rink Mast, and Price Sanford, if I had to throw a dart, maybe like a Jet Buck. Am I on the right track there?
Are you going for personality? Are you going for like team impact? What's
I guess like in terms of the style of play more than anything, right? What they mean to the team.
Okay. That's an interesting one. I'm going to go, I would say Case Sanderson's kind of a rink mast a little bit. He's been around for a bit. He was, they put him out there to talk to reporters. He's a clear leader on this team. And then, Sanford.
It's tough with transfers. I know it's always tough.
Yeah. I mean, like just his instant offense and the way that he's changed the elements or the dynamics of that team. I'll put Devin Nunez out there. Like he was a freshman, like he's going out to center field. And if that transition works out and he's a decent defender out there and he can take another step with his bat, like he's providing a boost that maybe people didn't see coming to the degree that it did. So I'll go with Devin Nunez on that one.
I like it. 4 different answers across the 2 questions for the both of us. Evan's the expert. Trust his word before you trust mine. Learn more about HuskerBaseballOmaha.com and at Evan Bland OWH. Evan, as always, appreciate the time. We'll keep talking some Husker baseballs. It's just around the corner. Thanks as always. Talk again soon.
Thanks, Austin. See ya.
Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald, joining us on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Allo Fiber is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Jay Foreman back in to wrap up Hour 2 of Old School with me right after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is your year to win way more than bragging rights. At Warhorse Casino, your love of the game could earn you serious cash. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with cash prizes all season long, like up to $1,000 weekly, with your chance at $1 million, all while earning tier points and comp points every time you place a sports bet. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of January, because get an early start on it. Sit down, the snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. Let's put numbers together. Let's get a budget put together. And let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
If your home isn't delivering the year-round comfort you expect, call the experts at Bryant. Need service? Call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Hey, Lincoln and the surrounding area. Yin and Yang Acupuncture and Rune Wind Healing Arts is now open at 1701 South 17th Street in Suite 3G and ready to help you improve your general health. If you're experiencing pain, headaches, or any other issues, give Yin and Yang Acupuncture a call today at 402 480-1014 to schedule your appointment. For those struggling with deep tissue pain or just need an experienced massage therapist to melt the stress away, call Runewind Healing Arts at 402-601-9721 and schedule your appointment now. Visit Yin and Yang Acupuncture and Runewind Healing Arts today in Lincoln at 1701 South 17th Street in Suite 3G.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School. Austin Orman, Jay Foreman with you. Thanks to Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, as always, for his time. Jay, let's get to this really quick here, just in the last couple minutes of this 4 o'clock hour. Mike Dunleavy Jr., some really pointed comments toward Jonathan Kuminga.
Man, let him live.
There's a lot going on in that
Let him
situation.
live, man.
Mike Dunleavy Jr., when you make a demand, there needs to be demand.
Yeah.
We've heard of one team right now who would be willing to take on Jonathan Kuminga, and that's the Sacramento Kings, who don't have much to offer the Warriors and are probably careening off on yet another cliff like the Sacramento Kings do. But man, when you make a demand, there needs to be demand. Oh boy, that's a quote.
Yeah, I think he's been talked about on the trade block extension for it seems like 3 or 4 years.
Since he got drafted, it seems like. He's been in the league since 21-22.
And for whatever reason, it's never worked.
Never.
And the Warriors have always had guys, that play his position.
Mm-hmm.
And Dunleavy was like, hey, look, dude, the demand, the supply is there, but the demand for you
is not.
And, he got a little bit of I call it a Mr. T starter kit, deal with the Warriors. I wonder, since Jimmy Butler's out, does that increase his playing time, which potentially could increase his value?
Well, shoot, they
or
played
shots.
him. Yeah, they played him last night, and he's been healthy pretty much all year. He's only played in 19 games.
Yeah.
He finally got some run because Jimmy Butler got hurt. But, Jay, before playing last night against Toronto, the previous game that he played in was more than a month ago, December 18th. He hadn't played since before Christmas, and he's been a healthy scratch.
That means he thought he was getting traded, or they kind of, hey man, why don't you know what, man? Where's your off-season home? Atlanta? Yeah, man. You know what? We got private.
We got a
jet
road
for
trip.
you.
We'll drop you off.
Yeah, we got a private jet for you.
Or that.
We're going to work diligently with your agent. We're going to try to find you a new spot, man. But we're going to keep this, just between us. If you're able to get around and meet us on a road trip, or if you're back home,
either way,
got a nice little big old nice captain chair for you. Yeah, it's weird because he's got talent. It's almost like, what's the sticking point? Because he's got talent. He's had some production, but I don't think anybody really trusts him enough to give him what he wants. And his skill set is just a little bit above good, and he hasn't improved at the rate that normal Golden State Warrior players have in their systems. You can't doubt what Steve Kerr and those guys have done with multiple players. role definition and obviously, expanding your brand on the court. So I think that's where the sticking point is.
And you can see that what they do still works, right? When they have their complement of players, they trade for Jimmy Butler, a guy that Jonathan Kuminga would ostensibly be replacing in the lineup. Jimmy Butler knows how to play basketball, willing passer, knows how to turn it up in big moments. But we had these same conversations a little bit with a guy like Benedict Mathurin for the Pacers, who found his role, helped them to the finals, and it was pretty good for the most part there. I'm sure that it's not all Jonathan Kuminga's fault. Like, I'm sure Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, the vets, are probably going a little too far to be stuck in their ways. It's our way or the highway, where the point of Jonathan Kuminga is that he is something a little bit different, right, to help you get to that next era and be a little less unpredictable. But it doesn't change the fact that Jonathan Kuminga still is not a reliable outside shooter, still hijacks the offense at times, and probably needs to rein it in a little bit. And they just haven't found that balance between that tension.
Yeah, I think if he really, by actions, tried to conform to be along with, two Hall of Fame, players, and I guess Jimmy Butler as well, well, 4, a Hall of Fame coach as well.
Yeah.
5, Warriors, a Hall of Fame franchise.
Yeah.
And then that would allow them to show that you have some humility, and then they'll let you kind of do your thing, where he just like, hey, I'm just going to do me. You guys just deal with it. I'm the guy that's going to be the bridge. I know it, but you don't know it yet.
Right.
Steph Curry is like, nah, not so fast. Draymond's like, I'm stuck with him. I'm his bodyguard. So until you get through him, you're not getting through it. Until you get through me, you're not getting to him. So they got to do something, because you're wasting that. Send him to Sacramento.
Right. For his sake and for yours.
If you get something, if you make it out of Sacramento, Harrison Barnes made it out of there.
Well, guess where Harrison Barnes started?
Yeah, and
Golden State shipped him to Sacramento.
Yeah, that's crazy though. Come on, Golden State. If I'm Kuminga,
but they got Kevin Durant out of it. You make that trade.
Yeah, that's true.
You do that every time.
You can't. I
guess
guess
your contributions. I guess just up the road.
You know what Golden State would say? Well, I could have sent you to Portland. You could have played with DeAndre Ayton in the ice storm and not go to work. You guys could have been playing the PlayStation like he was. He was online gaming.
Right.
Yeah, but I guess Sacramento isn't so bad. Sacktown.
Well,
they got cows there, so
the Grand Island of California has been reliably.
Yeah, it'd be the Omaha of the CBA with Tim Legler. Next thing you know.
Man. All right, Hour 3 of Old School, all brought to you by Graham Tire after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Just got new tires put on my car today. You did? I did see you leave the office. I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at SauterHeyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines. Now boarding. Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with the bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G138852 and G165184. 2,500 down with proof credit.
Husker Nation, the countdown is on for the biggest women's basketball event of the year, PAC PBA, coming up January 24th. This year, we're heating things up with the Big Red Beach Party. Watch your Huskers take on Big Ten opponent Illinois, decked out in your best tropical gear, with a specialty tropical drink in hand, all inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. PAC PBA is your tropical getaway right here in Lincoln. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/PACPBA.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score. Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts, answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, 5 o'clock hour, 1040 O Street on a breezy Wednesday. Hump day. A lot of news always going on.
When the street lights are shaking, I get a little concerned.
It seems like it's not as bad, but I think it blew me in from the south side all the way downtown. Once again, we want to thank Graham Tire for their support. I will be seeing them soon. Because I know Armageddon is coming, but I need some.
I won't tell the Southeast moms when you're going. Yeah.
I haven't said anything bad about Lincoln sports in a while, man. I get it, man.
I wasn't trying to set you up for that, by the way, right? It wasn't a diss on Lincoln sports or a set Jay Foreman up to get yelled at again. I promise that was not the point of the
I get some looks. I know sometimes when I roll up in games, they be looking at me like I'm crazy. I know for a fact they do. It's fine. You see the NSA dudes. I'm sure they're like, man, this dude talks too much.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, it's all right though. I mean, I guess I could be a teacher. Yeah? I could go get a teacher certificate. Can't you? How long does it take to be a teacher?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I did graduate.
You did,
and that's all you need, right?
Can you just get like Keith or Dennis to sign a certificate and say this guy's a teacher?
I'll go do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put it up there. Look, my dad was a teacher. My dad loves to teach.
Hey, how about that?
You want to hear? Hey, you want to hear a funny story about my dad?
Me too.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
So my dad, when I just went back to saw him, and we were driving, we were unfortunately going to a funeral, and he started. So when I first moved to Minneapolis, we lived in Northside Minneapolis. And so if you see some of the stuff that's going on up there, there's these apartments that have like different color panels. When you're up in Minneapolis, depending on where you're going, you'll see it as you go, to the barn. Okay. I mean, it's like a staple.
Okay.
So we were driving back there, and my dad saw a school, and he's like, "Man, that's where I first started teaching." Because that was the thing you did back then, be a teacher and stuff. So I'll never forget. I was either playing in Buffalo or Houston. I was in the pros, and he was substitute teaching, and then teaching, for a while. And one of the main reasons we moved out of Eden Prairie is because, like they wouldn't like my dad wanted to teach, and they were, didn't kind of make it work. So when I bought my house there, it was like right in like West Bloomington.
Okay.
So there was a school named Bloomington Kennedy that my dad would go. He would kind of go in between middle school and high school. So he knew all these kids. And I remember me taking him to a Timberwolves game, and there's an older guy. He's like, "Hey, Mr. Foreman." And so my dad had, taught him. One time he came home, I'll never forget this, man. I remember my dad used to make these chicken thighs. So we're eating and we're breaking bread. So all my friends over. He was like, man, he's like, he pulls out this pad of paper and a pen. He's like, "This is my list." Hey, he had a list. He's like, "These are the kids. I swear to God." Once they turned 18, they tried me. He's like, "I got some payback." And it was so funny. It was about this.
He had the Chris Jericho list.
Yeah, he had the list. And the best was I can't say what the kid told him.
Not even just the name, like the actual offense.
Oh yeah, but he had a one with the star. He's like, "This one right here, right?" So he told him, because my dad, he still rock his afro. You know what I'm saying? He think he looking sweet. So I guess my dad was they were acting up. My dad was like, "Hey man, I don't want to send you down to the, the principal or whatever." He looked at my dad. He's like, "You need to blankety blank up, you old blankety blank." My dad was like, "What?" My dad said, he said, "You lucky you ain't 18." All right, what you call it, man? Well, my dad told me that story. Listen, we couldn't finish. It took us 45 minutes to eat because we all just kept laughing.
I just picture like this old fashioned legal pad.
Oh, it was. It was a legal pad. He had a list. I'll never forget. Next time I see him, I'm asking for that list, man. It was funny, man. It was a good deal, man. But
just glad he didn't send you out as a bounty hunter for his list.
Oh man, but them young whoopers now. I told my dad, I said, "Man, these young dudes, man, they got all these processed foods and all these steroids and the chicken and stuff. They hit hard." I be seeing them on the internet. Hey, Dad, you better think twice. I used to be able to throw hands, but these little young, they hit hard.
Like they mean it.
Yeah. Oh man, that's some funny stuff, man. Oh man, for me being a teacher, boy, that would be funny. I dare guarantee they'd be having me
you'd be the Ebonics professor.
Yeah, they probably have me in some group chats. You know where I'd want to teach? I'd want to teach at I guess around here. Was it Southwest and East?
Okay,
that's where all the rich kids are at.
Yeah,
yeah, just so I could just mess with them.
There we go.
Yeah, they probably get me fired. They're like, he be messing with me too much. It get me out of there.
Mr. Foreman.
Yep, man. It's funny, man. Anyways, but it's I will tell you this, Trae Taylor, look, his move is give you a lot of text coming in, a lot of opinions. It'll fester back up when football is about to start. Mm-hmm. The one thing I will say though, and we'll dive into a little bit of the Mike Eckler stuff, and we'll do Trae Taylor. If you guys want to keep texting in, we'll back on it, and then eventually we'll talk about the national championship game, because obviously I wasn't on Tuesday, and then obviously today's Wednesday, is that became official with Mike Eckler. He's got, I guess a little bit of a promotion, associate head coach or assistant head coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And special teams and linebackers. And so, you kind of figured this was coming down the pipe. You can't be mad. Coaches are going to try to level up, whether he's a year, here a year or whatever. The one thing I'll push back on, I don't necessarily view Mike Eckler as a job hopper. I think he was at Tennessee for 4 years. It's a great opportunity to come back here. A couple other stops, he was there, and then coaches got fired, so he had to go get another job. So I don't think that's a viable excuse. I just think that, sometimes, he came in as special teams coach, felt like he really wanted to coach in, a position. Obviously linebackers is what he's coaching. He coached linebackers here before. He's done it before. I told you he coached James Pierce, who I knew from Charlotte. At least not knew him personally, but I saw him play 80 million. I mean, I've been hearing about James Pierce forever in their football program. So you can't fault him for it. I mean, I think, it's unfortunate, and guys move on. I don't think there's any animosity. I think it's something that he wanted to do, but I also think that, he's from Nebraska. He didn't play at Nebraska, so you get, he's got to do what he's got to do for best for his career. And he made his staple here. Hopefully, the one thing he's been able to do, and we'll see immediately next year, is you what type of job that you did while here based on like the first or second year after you leave. Did you leave a good foundation, a great standard, and rules to abide by throughout the whole team? Because he had every position group participating in special teams. So he's raised, hopefully he's raised the level of special teams, and then whoever takes it over, has got big shoes to fill, but, ultimately everybody's going to have to be there with him, and that's what, if you do that, then, and guys really dive into it. And you know what, the mindset should be, we were good last year, but, we probably let a little bit loose of the rope here later in the season. We're going to be good, game 1 through 12, and hopefully, 12, 13, 14, 15.
If all it was Mike Eckler wanted to coach a position, it came with, that a title and a pay bump. Okay, it's just business. What frustrates me and maybe makes me raise my eyebrows, Jay, is that it seemed like there was more going on. We talked about the radio comments from Matt Rule, right, as this was all going on. And, rumblings here and there behind the scenes, even before, right? Matt Rule, the celebrity coach thing, was that a shot at Eckler?
Yeah.
If it's just business, or if it's best for the program, then okay, so be it. Had to happen. It was going to happen. It was inevitable. Whatever. Move on. But if it's business, you can move on because, oh, well, that's too bad. We can get the next guy in. We'll be fine. If it was personal, then you just got to be right. That you have not only the schemes in place, but also the mentality. Jay, you've talked about it all the times, right? You need good special team schemes. It goes underrated, under-discussed. But what helps you stick on special teams? Your mindset.
Yeah.
You mentioned that so many times on this program and others, and it seems like Mike Eckler helped infuse that. Now, if the next guy's up, can take that, translate it, and bring that out of the next crew, and they keep the schemes and there's no drop-off, hey, guess what? Maybe it's, I don't know if we could go as far as addition by subtraction, but it's at least neutral, right? Okay, you don't have the big name, the big personality there, but you've carried over the success. And I think that's really all that Husker fans care about. Just be, average or better on special teams. Don't cost games, change it, and win a couple games like special teams had a hand in this year. But it just continues a bit of a troubling trend, Jay, for Nebraska and this coaching staff, because there were rumblings when Tony White left.
Yeah.
And then John Butler leaves and he's taking shots at the players, maybe defending his guy and Terry Braden, but saying, well, look what he had to work with. You don't do that. And now Matt Rule, passive aggressive and sniping at Eckler on his way out the door. If these moves had to happen, they had to happen. If it's business, it's business.
Yeah.
But if it's personal vendettas, that's, moving good coaches on out the door, and there's going to be this level of talking about them once they're gone, that's not necessarily my favorite look.
Yeah, I don't think it's always tough because I think, you see this sometimes with the portal too. And this is obviously not directly, apples to apples, but anytime a player, remember when the portal first was kind of fresh, right? Where everybody, oh, why is he leaving? there's got to be something going on. There's something with the program, something with the coaches. Now they might be coerced or thought that they should go in there, but I don't necessarily. I think there's always friction when you're in a highly competitive environment, and I think there should be friction.
Oh yeah.
Now how you handle it is which is most important. There's probably like when Coach Osborne and our staff, they had some knockdown, drag out, coaches meetings and stuff like that. So I don't think anything, is wrong with that. And I think, like sometimes you can be too, I don't know, was it forthcoming when you're in the media and then people can run with it. As far as
like you said, less is more sometimes.
Less is more. Well, Butler was like, hey, look what he's working on. And I like a coach to defend. It's a tricky line, a tricky step. You got to defend your coaches because you guys put a ton of hours in and you're teaching them the right thing. And then also you got to defend the players and you got to, so it's hard. Right. So, and then I guess the different radio shows, a podcast or whatever that Coach Rule was on, it's kind of like, I mean, I think for like, if I'm going to defend him or he can defend himself, but let's look at what he's saying. He's like, all right, this is the way the business goes. This is no big deal. This is kind of like, we got to have a plan in place. If you want to, it's kind of like with a player. Look, I'm going to treat you well, train you, develop you, give you a chance to be the best you can be. I can only give you what I can give you, which is the best I got, and you choose to leave, then, you can't be too upset. Maybe that's the way he approached it with Coach Eckler. Who knows what those conversations were leading up to it, Obviously, there's probably some friction there. And I don't know on the flip side for Coach Eckler, if he felt like in his mind he was going to be able to coach another position along with special teams when it's not there, then maybe he kind of is like, all right, I got to look, for another spot. Maybe he thought that it was a foregone conclusion. And maybe that was going to be true if they kept the same coordinator, so forth and so on. Right? Who knows what those dynamics are, and things change when you get a new defensive coordinator, because what was everybody griping about when we hired a new defensive coordinator? Let him do what he needs to do. So he brought in a majority of his guys. So then that kind of puts you back into special teams mode. And then obviously, offering him a contract. So it's just one of those things that, you just wish it would kind of rinse and repeat and you could have found some happy ground. But sometimes, you got to make, decisions are made and you got to kind of move on. You can't, it sucks because right now, as you're trying to win, if you compare directly to Indiana, when you compare up until this year directly to Oregon, when you compare directly for the most part to Ohio State, you can't really say Michigan because they lost their head coach, but like USC's had some turnover, obviously as a defensive coordinator, but like those three schools that I just mentioned, they've had tremendous amount of continuity at their coaching staff, right? So that allows them to develop faster, allows them to communicate more clearer, allows them to get over any type of potential friction that they would have. You know what I'm saying? And is where you're, and that's because they've been winning, so it's a little bit easier. So now we're trying to get there. And then, Coach Rule's got, got to feel he's got to be confident in what he's got going on because it's a big year coming up. And so, you wish Eckler's a good coach. I think take all that stuff out of it. Take all the, what people say this and all the stupid rumors and all that. And because that's going to be
just what we know.
Yeah. Just what we know. We lost a good coach.
Yeah.
Period. We lost a really good special teams coach. And so that doesn't mean that these other guys can't, pick up the slack. You got Brett, and then you got some other guys there that have been over, been here since Rule. One of them has been there since Coach Rule's gotten here, and I think one was a younger coach. I don't know if he came with Eckler or just kind of came on. So it's a great opportunity for them to step up. So it's an opportunity for the younger coaches that a lot of guys that maybe want to be down there and help don't get. So nobody cares. Right. And that's really where listen, okay, Eckler's in California, right? He's got nice weather right now. It's probably about 72 and sunny, right? And he's in there with Lincoln Riley, and as long as he don't go eat that dry brisket, he'll be okay. But now you got coaches down there, whoever they are, we'd have to probably go back and listen to the audio. It's time for you guys to step up, man, because there's a lot of coaches that probably would want that opportunity, and even these in non-ideal situations of taken over after Eckler that knock it out of the park. So step up. There is no excuse now.
No.
I mean, because you got an opportunity.
Right.
And just make the most of it and put the effort in it. And, hopefully you're taking notes and, both physical notes and like Chuck Foreman, physical notes, and then obviously mental notes.
Your list can be one of positive special teams developments instead of 18-year-old kids who disrespected you.
Oh, yeah.
Ideally. But no, I think that's the perfect way to look at it. If you're whoever ends up taking over for Mike Eckler, whether you're a coach on staff, someone else new that comes in, I'm a little surprised, Jay, that Nebraska didn't go out and hire a new special teams coordinator. They don't have anything yet, but they said they're going to promote from within. So I wonder if it is going to be a tag team effort or if we will actually get some clarity on, hey, here's the guy that is handling the bulk of the special teams.
I think you'll get some clarity. I think the guys that he mentioned, I think you're going to maybe have one guy that's the head special teams coach. And, he said, Brett Maher is going to handle the kicking. So that's what he did last year.
Yeah.
So you're in good hands with Allstate there. And I forget who the other two guys are. I know they are.
Josh Martin was one of them, right? Yeah. The former tight ends guy that took over for Wager.
So probably I assume Josh Martin will be I can't speak. I'm assuming he's going to be the head special teams coach. Been here the longest. He's coached special teams all 3 years. So I assume he's going to be the head special teams coach. And then the young guy that was kind of like the understudy other than both of them, he'll be kind of doing both.
Mm-hmm.
And so right there, you got to, that's probably your answers. To come and get a special teams coach this late? Most likely not. Plus,
USC just did it.
Yeah, they did. And Danny Smith, who just left Pittsburgh, he's in Tampa now.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's going from Pittsburgh to Tampa.
Poor guy.
I know.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Look at these guys upgrading from bad weather to good weather. Just breaks your heart. Danny Smith will be paying much less in tax than Mike Eckler will.
Man, that's got to go into it too, man.
I sure would if it was me. Ultimately, though, Jay, Nebraska's just got to be right. Just get it right. I think that's what Husker fans care about more than anything. Whether you hire a new special teams guy or you promote from within, to your overarching point, Nebraska lost a good special teams coach that got results.
Yeah.
That will be forgiven if there are still positive results very quickly.
Yeah.
It won't be Mike Eckler, who screw that guy, he left. I think there'll always be an affinity for him. But I think it'll be more of a, hey, look at, Mike Eckler was here. He came back. He laid the foundation. He must have been a good, coacher of the coaches to where they could pick it up and, hardly skip a beat without him. You just don't want to have to miss him. Look at him wistfully or wonder what could have been.
Yeah, I think, he was a good special. I just think we just lost a good coach, right? And I think the affinity came from, obviously, a tremendous amount of energy, right? I saw it. When we played, he'd be out there jumping around. I'd be laughing at him like, dude, you running down on special team. We're about to knock your head off. You ain't going, right. But that's his deal, right? And so I think one thing he did was up the standard and intensity of everybody that stepped in his room. Mm-hmm. And so you gotta, you gotta commend him for that. And then whoever's taking over has got to do it. And so, however they felt with, about him as a coach or like obviously somebody they went to work with. And obviously if it's positive, then you got to pay homage by making sure that you keep the standard and the production the same and maybe even try to get it a little bit higher. And you got to go from there. So, it's just part of, I was going to say, one thing about it, we'll maybe get in the second segment and we'll talk about the national championship game, obviously for the most part. I've probably been back in Nebraska. I think I retired, 2008-ish, 9. Been back in Nebraska, was dipping my toe back and forth between Minneapolis and here, like 11, 12. Been full-time since, let's say 14. So it's, we're over like, 10, 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
There has not been one off season in here. In little old Lincoln. How many people? 300,000?
300,000.
300,000. The only show in town, right? Everybody's like, oh, it's hard to get people to Lincoln. Not a lot going on. Listen, there has not been an off season that hasn't had some sort of drama to it.
Right.
Now, I think that's also a byproduct of the way college football is now, or is going to be every year, because coaches are going to move and all that. Mm-hmm. But I also think it's a byproduct of how the team is covered. There's always going to assume the worst. People will say that's why you can't keep coaching. That's why you can't keep players. You say that, dude, then you're not built. If you think that, just don't go play in Philly.
How about that?
Don't go to the NFL.
Right.
Just don't even think about it. If your feelings get hurt, or if you can't handle the pressure, or when stuff gets tight and you're not tough enough for it, then don't talk about playing in the pros, because the pros is 10 times worse than this.
You won't be learning NFL. You'll be learning YMCA.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I will tell you, there's a guy named Mark Berman down in Houston. There's an old saying with him. He'd step over his mother and grandma to get it, to get cover his story. I think he's chilled out, but back then he was real. I'd talk to John McClain and all them, and they, John would always stand.
Like the diehard guy?
No. Listen, John couldn't get through the first scene of Die Hard.
No,
he ain't
not built like that.
That Texas barbecue has treated him real well. John's a good dude. But the thing is, like, if you're not the pressure though, I remember being at Kroger, and and I didn't even know what was going on, and there was a couple players that had some off the field issues, and I'm in Kroger trying to put together a meal,
right?
And he rolled up on me. Because he knew because it was right by the stadium. Like on the way home.
Was he asking for your recipe?
No. And I wasn't a grill master then either. Yeah. I was looking at like.
You were a grill Padawan.
Yeah. I was looking for something to put in the microwave. You know what I mean? And they'll run up. What I'm saying is there's always, in the pros, there's always somebody covering. They will find you. They're way more savvy. So if you're a player coming in, and I guess like, with Trae Taylor, like for him, a little bit of a warning. Is like, now you came here high profile. You've kind of put the spotlight on you, what you're going to do. Now, it's not saying that you're cocky, but look, now the spotlight's on you now. Now you came in and you got a big recruiting class, or like there's a lot of good players in the state. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you go, my brother, okay, they're going to be looking at you. Mm-hmm. Welcome to Lincoln. Welcome to the first break. We're going to talk about the college football playoff championship, man. My Canes went down to the Hoosiers. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. Glad we didn't bet. Old School will be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just got new tires put on my car today.
You did? I didn't see you leave the office.
I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off and they were done.
You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service?
That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
So as women, we're so hard on ourselves, and I just wanted a simple way to feel confident again and to feel like me again. And the Spectrum 7 at Max Tan gave me that little spark back and can also give it to you too. A full body light that makes my skin and my spirit feel brighter.
Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer, invites you to the Spring Equipment and Technology Clinic February 3rd through the 5th at the Buffalo County Fairgrounds in Kearney. New this year, the planter and sprayer clinics are combined into one streamlined, hands-on event built around growers' time and needs. Get expert training on John Deere planters and sprayers on topics including maintenance, technology, and autonomy. Don't miss it. February 3rd through the 5th in Kearney. Visit landmarkimp.com/events for details.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies and it will be windy. An afternoon high near 47. Tonight, increasing cloud cover with a light breeze, a low around 17. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly cloudy skies, be breezy and cooler, the high near 35. I'm meteorologist Kyle Hutton for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting lincolnteammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with a bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G138852 and G16518. 2,500 down with proof credit.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Second segment. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, Old School once again coming at you live, 1040 O Street. A lot going on once again here in Lincoln. We covered the Mike Eckler departure. Wish him all the best. And, we'll probably see him. When does Nebraska play USC next?
Ooh, probably
2 more years.
Yeah, because you got the Washington-Oregon rotation.
Yeah, so we'll see him in a couple years. Hopefully. Maybe he'll come back. I don't know. But anyways. Anyways, the College Football Players National Championship. We finally have a national champion, the Indiana Hoosiers. Done the unthinkable. Never would have thought of Indiana winning a national championship in any of our lifetimes, considering that they were the losingest program in history. Fired the coach that kind of brought some life into him, and Tom Allen. Obviously the COVID year was thought of as the most special year in Indiana Hoosier football history. They kind of got hosed by Ohio State, for going to the Big Ten championship. That changed quickly, brought in Kirk Cignetti, sold everybody. Everybody thought he was selling wolf tickets. He was he was telling you the truth, and he definitely was foreshadowing the future. And they locked horns with the Miami Hurricanes. Going into the game, Indiana blitzed everybody. They seem to be getting stronger. Miami obviously was able to survive Ole Miss. I think it was one of the better games that we've seen in big games, and very competitive, very physical. Miami had their chances. Indiana made the play, and the one thing that people, what Indiana's done is great because of the history, but also I think people gloss over at what they were able to do. So what Kirk Cignetti has done which is interesting, is he's used his experiences, his connections, the continuity with staffs from all the smaller places that he's been. And obviously JMU obviously was the biggest up until then.
Mm-hmm.
He probably felt like that was probably the apex of it for him, as far as like moving up, because he was a little bit older.
Right.
I won't reference the tweet from 2022 that somebody tweeted that Kirk Cignati should have came to Nebraska. You see that?
I did not.
Yeah. So somebody's like, yeah, the perfect guy for Nebraska is Kirk Cignati. But he's
Dang.
like, he heard Nebraska said he was too old. Well, anyways.
Dang.
So what he's done, what people need to understand, when you look at his roster, everybody's trying to, not everybody, a lot of people go in the portal to continually to get young. Meaning, if I missed out on Austin Orman, the linebacker, you go to Texas, you don't play, or you only play your 4 games, you're up next year in the portal, I get you. You're still a redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
Kirk Cignati goes in there and gets the guys that he knows,
Mm-hmm.
the guys that he's kind of recruited at those different spots. He goes to the places where he trusts the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And so his team is old.
Yeah.
So you're playing against grown men out
Mm-hmm.
there. Now, they met some grown men in Miami because Mario Cristobal built his team to be older by taking the lumps and got those players to believe in bringing Miami back to the promised land. And that's why you saw the physicality in that type of game, and the competitiveness of that game. It was a really, really good game. Indiana was the better team. I think it came down to it had a little bit more reliable quarterback. That's what it came down to. A little bit more reliable quarterback, and they had I think they had a significant advantage at their wide receiver position than Miami. Counting Tony. I'm talking about the outside guys.
Mm-hmm.
In just that last play.
Right.
You know, even though Carson Beck shouldn't have thrown it there because the corner did a really good job of playing, deep to short and cover 2.
Well, Miami had no one in the flat. Didn't run a single route.
It was a bad play design. You should have thrown it to the right side. I know that from a defensive standpoint, but the safety was there anyways.
I mean, there's really only one spot. If you're going to throw that ball can go.
Yeah.
And he didn't get it there.
Yeah, he didn't.
Right.
But when you have an older team, you're able to, everybody references the practice regimen.
Mm-hmm.
When you have older established players, more mature, guys that more invested, right? At Indiana, that believe in the coach, believe in the process. I don't need you out there for 2 hours.
Right.
I trust you. So that's why he's able to maximize it. Indiana's going to be around for a while. So is Miami. But it was actually obviously legendary status. I'm assuming eventually somebody will come in. You got to do a movie about it.
Oh yeah. At this point,
you got to do a movie. You got to do all the things that that come with it. So congratulations to them. I texted Red Lewis. It was pretty cool. We always send that Hot Ones challenge.
Oh yeah,
where those guys are cracking open beers, like, look at us. That's
who would have thought?
Who would have thought? But we sent that to each other when we're like, we got Matt Rule. I was hyped, and then they had Kirk Cignati. We always reference back when we played up there, and we send it back. I was like, well, we went from like, who would have thought, and look at us. We're looking at you, and he was excited. He was there and all that stuff. So. He's had a pretty good year. I think he's just welcomed another baby, and then obviously got a national championship.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Wonder which one's more important. Hopefully the baby.
Depends if his wife's around.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. I mean, look. The one thing I will say, also on top of it, Kirk's. This is the good thing and a bad thing. And I think it actually is all good, right? By Kirk Cignati turning around Indiana and winning, and obviously winning a national championship, but turning around Indiana so quickly. You can even say it at a little bit lesser level. Jed Fish coming into Washington doing,
first Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona,
where that program
Arizona,
was.
but then Washington as well. Washington had more winning than Indiana, but the fact that he was able to do, or Kirk Cignati was able to do it at Indiana, it's actually, I'd like to think in the back of the mind, a lot of coaches were hoping that Miami won because the pressure now they're unrealistic expectations for everybody,
right.
even for my man Barry Odom.
Yeah,
the Purdue was like,
he's right next door.
We're not 9 wins in next year. We're getting 9 wins, coach. You're right.
Yeah,
So everybody's under a little bit more pressure, considering what Kirk Cignati did just initially, because everybody's going to reference that. And especially the more he wins and the more he becomes consistent, the pressure will get even hotter.
I still don't know how much I agree or disagree with this, but the flip side of that is from the fan perspective, Jay, Nebraska fans. I heard from some that were just rooting against Miami because of the history, but I heard plenty that were rooting against Indiana because they didn't think that program, paid its dues, right? They didn't get close. They didn't get to the doorstep and then, have the falling short in the national championship stage. It was such a quick climb that it feels almost too good to be true. Now, it was, at one point, the losingest program, but I get that, right? No one's saying Indiana's a blue blood, right? They're not knocking on the door of the blue blood club by any means, but I can understand, from the fan perspective and then from the other coach's perspective, of, well, why can't that be us? Why aren't we there?
Yeah.
How that would rub people the wrong way.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of when you hit the jackpot. It's kind of like what Mel Tucker did when they went on that magical year in the first year, kind of the transfer portal. When you hit the jackpot with guys and you keep, and look, Kirk Cinetti is a great coach. He's won everywhere he's been, and his message hasn't changed. Very process oriented. That's the only way you got to be. People don't realize a lot of his coaching, like how he goes on a day-to-day basis, is actually a byproduct of Coach Osborne because because Coach Saban kind of replicated what Coach Osborne did and so forth and so on. He's a great coach, and so he was able to get that magical year timed up with not one dominant team this year, obviously besides Indiana, but coming into the season, it's not like last year where you had Ohio State, right? Where you're like, oh, these guys are stacked, right? Because we're watching the majority of them here in NFL Sundays. And so, yeah, you can be mad that he hadn't paid his dues. Yeah, you could be immature and be like, you're mad at Miami for playing, beating Nebraska and however many Orange Bowls. We beat them the last time we played in the national championship game. Oh no, we didn't. No, we did not. You know what?
No.
That has been erased from my memory. I can only reference when I was there. So I forgot
Good
that.
answer. You're a Husker.
Yeah.
You took the one that mattered.
I forgot about that. I think everybody else wanted to forget about that. So
but Nebraska did, I believe, won the most recent matchup between the two, right? Back in 2014.
That is true. A huge game by Randy Gregory. So I think he's put a lot of pressure on people. I think Miami's done it. It put a lot of pressure on people with the way that Mario Cristobal's went about it. It'd be interesting to see how their players on their teams deal with success because the Miami, dealing now the offseason started. There's a lot more ears in those players, a lot more people in those players' ears, in this offseason, how that goes out. There's a rumor that Tony might be in Malachi Tony might be in the portal, which would be a huge loss. I don't know why you would do that. You got the whole Mensa thing with the quarterback, so there's a lot of that.
We'll need to talk about that tomorrow.
Yeah, Duke said I need that. Miami said we got that. Matter of fact, we won that.
Yeah, right.
So don't worry about the checks in the mail. But I think the pressure is good. I think that pressure hopefully makes some coaches think outside of the box. I think that's a good part. It's no different than when we talked about with LPS or the powers that be. Sometimes to keep up with the times and deal with the way the landscape is, you got to think outside the box. You got to be open to things that you normally and people that you normally wouldn't be, and in order to survive, because ultimately you don't want to make a short-term decision that can affect long-term success. And that's what Kirk Cinetti is put on him. Now, it's going to be interesting to see next year when eventually they lose a coordinator or two to be a head coach, how that keeps rolling. I think they'll still be competitive, and how they and he, which he'll be fine, but how they deal with being the hunted versus a hunter.
Yeah.
It's extremely motivating when you have a Heisman candidate, number 1 overall pick, quarterback, to go for something that you hadn't, that you lost last year in the playoffs to Notre Dame, versus bringing in a new quarterback from TCU, Hoover, and you're losing some players. You're losing Pons. You're losing Fisher.
Kamara probably, right?
Kamara. You're losing the big left tackle, Smith. You're probably losing Coogan, the center, and whoever else. I'm sure one of those receivers are juniors or seniors. How do you replace that? I know they had a good portal, but how do you deal with that, replace those guys, and then deal with being a national champion? And a lot of the national champions are gone. That's a hard thing to do.
And it's going to be the challenge for Indiana because they haven't been there before, but maybe the coach has.
Yeah.
Right? Cignetti's won. And it may be in another day and age of college football if a random pop-up championship like this happened and be, oh, well, they're going to fall way back next year. But anymore, I think even just through these 2 years, you can look at Cignetti's character versus the program's character. So Indiana, the football program, is not used to being the hunted. Signetti is.
Yeah.
And now I think next year is where we'll really see how much of that Cignetti DNA has taken root in that program will determine how they handle it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And then it's gonna be interesting to see what everybody else does this offseason has started, how everybody prepares to beat the Indianas, to beat the Oregons, to beat the Georgias, because now whether it's 12 or 16 teams, the race to get in the dance is the race.
Yeah.
Once you get there, you kind of restart and reset. And you know who the champion is, you know how they became champion. So now the guys that are like below, like say 8 and below, any team 9 or below, what have you taken from that? Because if you're trying to do it a different way, then you'll still be watching them on January 20th next year or whenever the championship.
It's like 25th or 26th or something.
Yeah. So where's that commissioner at when you need him? So anyways, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back, give quick thoughts on Nebraska against Washington. Austin and Nick the Slick will be over there, but we'll talk about what these Huskies can bring against the Huskers. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, we'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with a bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G13885 and G165184, $2,500 down with proof credit.
Husker Nation, the countdown is on for the biggest women's basketball event of the year, PAC PBA, coming up January 24th. This year, we're heating things up with the Big Red Beach Party. Watch your Huskers take on Big Ten opponent Illinois, decked out in your best tropical gear, with a specialty tropical drink in hand, all inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. PAC PBA is your tropical getaway right here in Lincoln. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/PACPBA.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Clear your calendar. It's a volleyball weekend in Omaha. Love Nebraska returns to Baxter Arena for back-to-back home matches on January 30th and February 1st, facing Love Madison and Love Austin. 2 matches, 2 chances to see your hometown team compete as the season heats up. Featuring Lexi Rodriguez and Jordan Larson taking on the likes of Lauren Carlini and Maddie Skinner, and special moments throughout the weekend. This is your opportunity to catch all the action live. Make it one night or both nights. Get your tickets now at lobbneb.com/tickets.
At Anderson Ford, we have commission-free guides who are paid to give you a great experience, not make a sale, so you can choose the best vehicle for you. Right now at Anderson Ford, lease a 2025 Ford Escape for $222 per month. Experience better at Anderson Ford. Stock number 4003618. Lease for $222 per month for 36 months with approved credit. 7,500 miles per year. 5,000 plus first payment due at signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 2/2/26.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, we're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. Quick segment before we Austin heads down there. Actually got an hour or two before you get down to Nebraska against the Washington Huskies. 8 o'clock on Big Ten Network, a late night tip-off that happens when you are undefeated and one of the hottest teams in the nation, or the hottest team in the nation, with Fred Hoiberg and company taking on these Huskies. Nebraska, the big favorite. Washington, obviously, will pose a problem maybe from like size, but I think Nebraska will run through these guys pretty quickly. Austin, what do you think?
I think that's got to be the hope for Nebraska in this one. Washington team that is down Desmond Claude, a guy that gave Nebraska fits at USC last year. And now, per the Big Ten's injury report, now also down Wesley Yates, a bench guy who's been a pretty decent shooter for Washington. One of the few guys they have as a threat from range. Lathan Somerville, a backup center from Rutgers, also listed out, and then a long-term injury for them as well. So it's a depleted Washington team. It's an undermanned Washington team.
Steinbach, that's the only guy you need, right? Or
pretty much. Yeah. And I talked about this with Bach before, Jay, and we talked about this game a little bit. Everything Washington does well plays into Nebraska's strengths. Playing through the post, not shooting threes well, that goes to Nebraska's strength. The one thing Washington's really good at is shooting free throws. They're a 78% free throw shooting team, except that Nebraska has the 4th best defensive free throw rate allowed in the entire country. So I think that this should be a game that Nebraska is able to kind of put in cruise control with 10, 15 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another judging who's out in the way. I watched Washington when they played, I think, Oregon. They were playing late. Athletically, I think Diallo looks like a player. He can't really shoot that well, I think, on the team. I think it's going to be a big Braden Frager game, Sam Hoiberg game, Lawrence game. I just think that they'll be able to eat those guys up. And then obviously Rink and obviously Burkhead and all them will do theirs. But I think this is a game where you see continue Braden Frager playing well. The Lawrence game where he's able to get off. I think it's a perfect game to – I wouldn't say it's a get-right game, but it's definitely a get-busy game.
Can you continue the second half from Northwestern and do that for 40 minutes?
Right. And that's probably one of the coaching points and motivational points that you want to have. And, obviously you want to have discipline. You don't want to come out there and kind of be big-headed and do things, out of ordinary, if you want a drastic case, behind-the-back passes and all that. Do what you've been doing, just the simple plays that look magnificent. Continue on the process, and then obviously get ready to get on the road to go up to Minneapolis, the greater Twin Cities. So,
indeed. I will be there. Confirmed.
Yes or no? Do they cover?
What's the spread? 11.5? I would hope so.
Oh yeah.
Anything other than if they?
I think they need to. I think if anybody, Warhorse, I know they sponsor or something, they need to have it to where you can go and bet that they double up the cover.
Ooh, little boost, a boost on things.
25 burgers, 26 burgers. They'll send you home with a little Le'Veon Bell special.
Little heavy pocket for you.
Yeah, a little double.
Yeah.
There's a lot of risk.
That?
A lot of risk, high reward.
Right.
Anyways, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, we're old school. Appreciate you listening. Appreciate the text. We'll be back tomorrow. You got some more thoughts on Trae Taylor, little Mike Eckler, but more importantly, we'll recap the game. We'll holler at you.
So as women, we're so hard on ourselves, and I just wanted a simple way to feel confident again and to feel like me again. And the Spectrum 7 at Max Tan gave me that little spark back and can also give it to you too. A full body light that makes my skin and my spirit feel brighter.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Change begins with you. Join a weight loss medication study at Solarion and earn cash in the process. If you are 19 to 65 years old with excess weight to lose, you may qualify. Participants could earn up to $22,750 for their time. Study includes 1 2-night stay, 1 3-night stay, and 38 returns. Learn more at helpresearch.com/flamingo or call 866-213-2965. Weight loss not guaranteed.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet.